It's a traveler's dream. Might stumble far, but we rise again. For the banner of PHG flies our friend. Great racers, yeah, better people. Rising like a phoenix, ain't no sequel. PHG, baby, we roll the steeple. Great racers, better people. Better people. Oh, baby. Better people. The engine's roaring life in the fast lane. PHG, we the name, tearing up the game. Thunder on the track, speed never go lack. Pushing limits, breaking barriers, and looking back. Tires screaming as we take that turn. Fuel and fire in our hearts we burn. Opponents in the mirror, they can't keep up. Keep the throttle down, never wanna let up. Great racers, yeah, better people. Rising like a phoenix, ain't no sequel. PHG, baby, we roll the steeple. Great racers, better people. Team strong, bonds like no other. Brothers, sisters, ain't no wonder.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending upon where you're viewing from. My name is Slow Mo, and I am here with my colleague, Mr. Tuzzenbox, for today's PHG World Series Championship Round 2. We're going to go through some information here prior to getting into the drivers qualifying. We have 3 splits of racing for you today: Split 2, Split 3, and Split 5. So quite a bit of good racing that we're going to see today. Tuzzenbox, are you excited for some racing this afternoon here?
I am extremely excited. All 3 of these splits, they were really close in qualifying, so I'm looking forward to the race, and I'm also looking forward to just the qualifying itself, because if the times were that close during the qualifying sessions to get to these splits, yeah, I think each one of these splits are going to provide some really good racing and qualifying sessions.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, there is a lot of talent that is going to be in the grids today. These guys have put in some practice laps, some of them weeks of practice to prepare for this. So these guys are ready to go, let me tell you. I got a chance to watch some of the practices throughout the week, and as well as saw some of the races from yesterday. Congratulations to our winners there. I believe that was Bobagito and Vetter Dan. Great job in your races yesterday. Both very exciting races. Really came down to the end, and we saw quite a bit of drama in both races, whether it be tires. There was quite a bit of fuel drama as well. So I think strategy plays a key role. Chisholm, what do you think some of the keys to success for these guys are in today's races?
So it's my understanding that there's a few cars out there that burn a little bit more fuel than others. So I think the fuel strategy is going to play a really good part. Will they, save a little bit more fuel to not have to refuel during their pit stop, or will they burn it, try to set faster laps on track, and just suck up the time in the pit stop? Yeah, the tire strategy as well. I hear that no one ran the soft yesterday, but maybe somebody could hop onto the softs if they're not having a great race and go for that 5-point bonus for the fastest lap.
Yeah, I could see that. Somebody gets into a little skirmish with somebody, ends up in the grass, dirty tires, back at the back. You got to pit anyway. Why why not go ahead and put those soft tires on and try and get that fastest lap. Let's go ahead and jump into the round information here. So here we are with our season 2, round 2. We are at Interlagos. The drivers are going to be running 23 laps. It is a 2 times tire. Racing hard and medium are required. So again, the softs are available, but they're not required. And the fuel is a 4 times burn there. They're in the GR4 cars. And Tism, do you mind taking us through the points here?
So for the bonus points, the overall fastest qualifier in the qualifying sessions that took place early in the week, they get 5 points. If you get pole position in your split, that is a 5-point bonus. If you get the fastest lap within the split, that is a 5-point bonus. If you lead a lap during the race, that is also a 5-point bonus. And whoever sorry about that. So leading a lap is 1 point. Excuse me. And then if you lead the most laps within the split, you get 5 points as well.
So there are a lot of points on the tables for these guys today. And this season here is running as a Manufacturers Cup. So here on the screen, you're going to see kind of how the manufacturers are shaped up throughout the first week of competition for these guys. Obviously we've got BMW up there at the top. Genesis is right behind them. Ferrari in a close third. And the top 14 manufacturers are going to make it into the finals. So, it's really important that these guys get their manufacturers points up there and tally up as many points for their team as possible. Tell them what manufacturer would you run if you were going to be competing in Interlagos today?
So if I'm specifically picking a car for Interlagos, I'll be honest, Interlagos isn't really one of my strongest tracks, so I would probably go with BMW, not for the Group 4, but I'm really comfortable in the M6, so I would mostly be focusing on the Group 3 races. But I've seen in qualifying people did set some pretty fast times in the Group 4 M4. So yeah, I think I would probably go BMW.
Yeah, BMW is always a strong choice. I was a little disappointed to see that nobody went after the Team Subaru, but I think they might have got a little bit nerfed on the last update and they're just not quite as viable as I'd like them to be. But that would probably be my choice, although I'd probably be bringing up the rear with that. All right, let's take a look at our split 2 drivers here today. A lot of familiar faces for me. You've got Arrow running in P1. And again, these guys are going to qualify to determine where their starting grid locations will be. You'll see we got Leo, one of my other colleagues there in the second spot. Core and Identity, and he is running on the Genesis. Sorry, the other two. We've got Genesis, Mazda, and then you have Jesher running the Nissan. Somebody I know very well, my brother Angry Fredbird, running in the Genesis. Flux Flair is running his Porsche. JK85 CBR in the Lamborghini. How do you pronounce that one? Rubel?
I think that's RW.
RW, okay. In the BMW. Then we have Slowpoke Rods in the Porsche. PHG Sheldon-ologist in the Nissan. Turbo PHG in the Porsche. Papa running the McLaren, which we know he loves quite a bit. Old Man Pip is in the Renault. And then we have Dirt McGirt running in the Lamborghini. So a full split here for the second split. A lot of very talented drivers. And, as we were kind of looking at the qualifying times, Tozum, you said those are, 6/10 apart from 1 to 14, something to that extent?
Yeah, about 6.5 tenths apart. If we have anything like that, this qualifying session alone is going to be electrifying.
Yeah, that is tight, man. That is a tight grid. What? And these guys, boy, as you said earlier, this is not one of my preferred tracks. Fredbird, for example, he does enjoy running at Interlagos, and I think that may be why he hopped in to get his chance today. So, some of these guys can really make this track look easy. In my opinion, it's all about hitting the apex when you get into the twisties, and you gotta be fast. Keep your speed up as you're making those turns. It can be very easy to have somebody slip inside or outside in some situations, and it's super easy to make a mistake and end up with some dirty tires, and that will put your put your position in jeopardy. So we are definitely in for some exciting racing through today's broadcast.
Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to all three of these races today.
I think we all are. And tell us in chat. Hopefully you guys are too. We're gearing up here. I believe we have some drivers. We have some drivers in the lobby that are ready to go. I believe qualifying is getting queued up here in just a second for us. So we'll jump to that as soon as they start. Until then, Tism, anybody within that lineup you think is, almost determined to be first, or with as close as they qualified, is it anybody's race today?
Yeah, it's pretty much a lottery as to who's going to get pulled today. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to pick one. It's picking a name out of a hat at this point, with how close they were in their pre-qualifying sessions.
I 100% agree. I mean, I think one little mistake could change everything. And you know how it goes. You get into these races. Obviously, this is not a daily. These guys, while they will be fighting for position, they're going to be doing it the right way. They're not trying to take anybody out. They're not trying to ruin anybody's race. They're just trying to put their best laps down and see where everything plays out at the end. So we're going to ride along a little bit here with, we're on board with Arrow right now. And he is just going through his outlap. Arrow is driving that Genesis. Great looking livery there. That is clean. Whew, that's sharp. Slowpoke's running the Nest Quick. Get you a chalky milk after the race. There is the proprietor of PHG, Papa himself, in a trademark McLaren.
Yeah, I get extremely jealous when I see all these liveries. I was never one to. I don't have that creative eye like some of these people do. It's just seeing all these great. What's the word I'm looking for? Creative liveries. Excuse me. Yeah, especially I'm really loving this Nest Quick livery.
Yeah, the Nest Quick is my favorite so far. You gotta love that. The Monster was cool. Hopefully that one's strong. Muscle Milk, that's pretty strong. What do we got there? Hidden Valley Ranch.
Oh yes, I did. I saw that on qualifying on Wednesday. I thought that was hilarious.
Hey, you put ranch on
that livery.
Jesser driving a GTR that looks like something you drive on the regular street, taken to the car show. That's a good looking car. And Fredbird with that trademark Hanky's livery. Number 49. Old Man Pip seems to have a nice little clean ride there too, with the iRock sticker. I love the color shifts personally. Every time I see Sheldonologist's name, I just think back to the show, and Sheldon didn't drive in the show, so it cracks me up every time to see Sheldon racing, or somebody named after Sheldon racing. All right, so we are on a hot lap here. Slowpoke Rods is out in front, currently coming into the straightaway, first straight there. And, if you get through those first couple of turns after the start finish, get good speed up, you can really carry some good speed through here. Set yourself up for this first turn. Well, it's actually turn 3, sorry. Setting yourself up for this turn here, and you got to stay inside. There's a pretty good opportunity for penalties as you go through and try, people generally will try and push the track limits as much as they possibly can, shorten the track up. Okay, and here we are on the main straight, coming into this first left-hander. Riding along with Flux Flare for a minute here.
Currently on provisional pole, fastest lap is a 39.942. He is 1/10, about 1.5 tenths ahead of PHG Stratos in the Lamborghini.
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I don't think anybody had a 139 through qualifying out of this group, so he's definitely been putting some practice in. I think they were in the 140s.
Actually, there were the top
there a couple?
5. Yeah, the top 5
Okay.
were between 39.8 and 39.9, so there were a few 39s.
Okay, sorry. I know Papa and Fredbird were both, mid to low 140s. Jumping back on with Flux Flare here, our provisional leader, as he's going through. Coming around on that back straight there. Good inside line.
Pulling into the pits. Flux Flare.
And coming across the line with a 141.17. Certainly respectable. I don't know that I'd have been putting up anything in the 140s. As we jump on board with Stratos here, a PHG team member. And for those of you viewing, you can still join the league if you want to. You don't necessarily have to compete in every single week. You can pick your manufacturer, you can hop into the league, you can race the tracks that you prefer, and represent your manufacturer as best as you can. So there is still room for people that are interested. Feel free to jump into the PHG Discord, learn a little bit more about the league, jump onto the website, check out what tracks are coming up on what dates, and get yourself signed up. We'd love to see you on track. Stratos going through the curvy section here. And he's going to experience a little bit of traffic there with Sheldonologist up in front of him. Sheldonologist is currently running in 3rd position with a 140.195 in that color change in livery. And looks like we hopped on board with Jesser a little bit here. Sheldonologist still in 3rd. Okay.
I'm just taking a quick look at everybody's tires right now. It looks like we have Slowpoke preparing a new lap. He's on fresh softs, as is PhD Papa. Corn Identity is also on a fresh pair of softs, so we'll look to see what they do on their next lap. A few people are pulling into the pits now. Flux, Flare, Stratos, and JK85, also J Senior. A lot of people are pulling into the pits now. Dirt McGurk's now in the pits. Looks like most of those guys will probably have one more shot at they'll have one more shot for one more lap.
Yeah, this is a 10-minute qualifier. As we see Papa coming around the straight there.
PhD Arrow just sets his fastest lap of 40.294, about 3.5 tenths behind pole position.
Papa was actually on an outlap there, so he's going to run a hot lap now. Coming through turns 1 and 2. Into 3. And riding that rumble strip right there, you definitely want to touch that apex and keep your car planted on it. We shifted over here to Slowpoke. And he is moving that Nesquik car right along, isn't he?
Yeah, he looks like he's on a pretty hot lap. We'll keep an eye on him to see what he's going to run coming across the line. Looking pretty smooth on this lap so far.
Yep, I'm watching for the checkpoints there, and I haven't seen a purple, but he could be. Keeping it nice and tight. Coming into this right-hand turn. And setting himself up for the last sharp turn down here. Okay, so he's got his personal best. It is not purple. One more turn to navigate as he comes up the back straight. And so far, his best is a 141, so he's certainly looking to improve on that. Slowpoke is pushing for a very nice lap, 144.86. That moved him up in the standings just a little bit as we jump back on board with Papa.
Corn Identity just went P3. The 40.191 puts him a quarter of a second behind Flux. He'll be able to do one more lap on this set of tires.
Yeah, I think they've got time to just finish this lap. I don't know that we're going to see any more past this. Corn going purple, trying to take that pole away from Flux Flare. Pushing his apex, letting the car swing out a little bit there. Setting up for this double right. Oh! We switched over to Flux Flare, and it looks like he somehow got a 1.5 penalty there. Not sure exactly what happened to him. Maybe just a little bit tight or wide, I would imagine. As we move over to Stratos, who's currently sitting in P2 with almost a flat 140, 140.080. Coming up the back.
I got eyes on Sheldologist. He's going to be the last person to cross the line. He actually went purple by just under a tenth in the first sector.
And Stratos has gone into the pits. Now we jump on board with Corn Identity. And he is coming through with a 38, 39, 139.2 puts him in a very good position for his starting.
Corn Identity just set a 39.2. He's got that's provisional pole by almost a half a second.
Yeah, that's a heater, man. That is scooting.
And finally, we got Sheldologist.
Yeah, he's coming through 8, 9, 39.8.
Does improve 39.8. That'll only be good enough for fourth.
Yeah, I mean, man, that you run a 39.8, you're expecting good things, and P4 is not bad, but boy, I bet he was hoping for a little bit higher than that. We saw a couple laps with the split one yesterday that were in the 138, so there is a little bit more time to be found out there on track, and those guys did that on medium. So not to say we won't see somebody beat these times as they go through the race today. But that, I believe, wraps up our qualifying session. So our grid is set. Tuzum, do you mind going through the grid here?
Sure. So in pole position with a 139.260 is Corn Identity. 4.477 down is Jay Senior. 39.828 we have JK85. 39.888 with PHG Sheldologist. Fifth place is Flux Flare with a 39.942. Sixth is PHG Papa with a 140.064. PHG Stratos is in seventh with a 140.080. PHG Arrow in eighth with a 140.294. P9 is Angry Fredbird with a 140.389. Slowpoke, 10th place with a 140.462. Dirt McGirt P11 with a 140.961. And bringing up the rear is Old Man Pip with a 141.614.
Yeah, not quite as tight as we saw them in the qualifying, but anything can change when you get on track. So as these guys get themselves prepped and get their last little sips of water before they hit the track, tell us in chat, who do you think is going to bring home the W today for Split 2?
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what tires everybody's gonna start this race on. I would imagine like anyone in the top 4, 5, maybe even 6, starting on the mediums. Everybody further back probably going to start on the hards, but who knows? Maybe P1 or P2 they're starting on the hards. Maybe try to slow the field down while they're on the harder tire and make their days a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, I noticed yesterday on split 1, I think 3/4 of the field started on the mediums, which was a little bit of a surprise. I expected a little bit more, like you said, half and half kind of. But that's not how they approached it. So, we'll have to see how these guys want to start their race off. And I mean, Tism, I don't know about you personally. For me, I'm going to go with the mediums first, no matter where I'm starting. I like to have that traction as I'm in those tight racing positions, and then as you get later in the race, it spaces out a little bit more. Then I'll go to the harder compound. Do you take the same approach, or do you decide where you're positioned and then let that determine what you're starting on?
I try to base it on how long the tire will last. Like if I can go a longer time on the softer tire, I'll start on that just so I can try to stay away from traffic. Because if I use the shorter tire, if I pit into traffic, that could potentially ruin my race.
Yeah, that's a good approach. And we are lined up. We have a rolling start. We're going to ride on board with Corn Identity as he kicks this off for us. We've got Corn, Jesser, JK, Sheldologist are your first 4 right there, but keep an eye on Flare, Papa, Stratos, Arrow. Again, anything can happen as they come into the first turn. Everything looks pretty neat and tidy. I don't see a lot of changing in positions. Looks like Corn's trying to get a little space there with Jesser. Corn is running on the hard, so, as you said, Tism, he started there with those hard compounds.
Yeah, I'm going through actually, most of the drivers are on the hards. PHG Sheldologist is the first medium runner. Stratos and Arrow are also on the mediums. Those are the only 3 drivers on the mediums right now.
Wow. Okay. So almost opposite of what we saw in split 1 yesterday. The majority of the field on the hards to begin with. Corn seems to be holding his position very well. As you see, JK trying to eye something up to see if he can get a position away from Jesser. I don't know.
He's gonna want to try to get in front of this top 3 as quickly as possible.
Yep, you bet. And I guess I'm probably a little calm when it comes to the first couple laps because I generally try not to give up a position. I'm not normally worried about taking a position unless somebody just gives it away. For me, I just tend to make too many mistakes, so I try and stay calm and collected, and I just want to get through the first couple laps. These guys, on the other hand, you're talking about a skill level that I don't have. These guys are pushing from the very beginning to the very end. And
so we're completing lap 1. I don't think there's any changes, but Old Man Pip bringing up the rig. He's got a half a second penalty.
Oh, here we go. Sheldologist making a move into turn 1. That's going to give him a good position here for the straight. And it looks like he has taken P3 away from JK. Riding along with...
Up a move. Flex Flare, he's going to go down the inside of JK. Going side by side, coming out of turn 4, going into turn 5.
He's got Strato right in tow with him, too.
JK might still have just his nose down the inside. He's going to take the position back. Stratos, he goes down the inside and takes both positions.
Yes, he does. We got Flux, Stratos, and JK have a battle going here. Oh, and it looks like JK has got himself a half second there from track limit. Let's take a look at what happened. As you see, he's inside. Strato comes out, gives him a little bump, and it just pushed him off the track limit there to get that half second.
That's really unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. Unfortunately, that is racing. So we're back on board with JK here, as he is right in the rear end of Flex Flare. serves his penalty. Let's see if he ends up giving up any other positions. There goes Arrow, and Papa is eyeing it up. I think Papa's going to tuck himself in line and follow. So just one position, or I'm sorry, 2 positions lost there on that penalty. Back on board with Sheldon, making a move on Jesser up the inside.
And he makes that stick quite easily. Up to P2, going to chase down Corn Identity. But
Jesser tucks himself back in, yeah.
Getting a lot of slip on this next straight. Corn Identity with a small weed to try to break up that slip up in P1.
And shows Sheldologist purple through the first sector there. Maybe getting a little bump draft from J Senior, Jesser. Either or, he's told us. And it looks like they are gaining just ever so slightly on Corn right now. You can see that delta shrinking there between Corn and Sheldologist. Oh, somebody ran wide there. Was that Jesser? J Senior? Jump on board with... We're on J Senior. It was. Yeah, he got a half second. Let's see what happened as we go to the replay here. Just a smidge wide on that. Dirty tires coming in. It didn't lose a position for him, but that penalty may cost him a position in the end.
Yeah, Stratos was right behind him, so yeah, he just dropped down to P4. Flux is going to threaten to take P4 away from him as well.
As we jump on board with the proprietor. Papa in P8 got himself a little bit of breathing room in front and behind. He's definitely looking to close that gap between him and JK. And he's got Fredbird trying to close the gap to get himself a little bit closer for some additional positions.
So Corn Identity, he's actually doing pretty well holding that gap. The gap is now down a bit. It's now down to about a half a second, but in that last lap, he only gained about... Shadala only gained about 2/10 in that last lap. Sorry, 3/10.
And back on board with Jesser as pushing that 4th position. We're going to get a replay here. And watch this outside move on Flux Flare. Nice move. Clean pass.
Yeah, looks like Flux went a little deep into the corner, and then I'm not sure, he just slowed down on the exit. I'm not sure what exactly happened there, but yeah, that's yeah, I'm not sure what happened there.
Yeah, it looks like he just didn't have a real good speed being carried through that turn, and stayed inside on that, and outside was the way to go for J Senior, and he made that work, no problem. And there you see Corn and Sheldologist 1-2. With Stratos following them in 3rd position. Jumping on board with Sheldologist as he is trying to get himself just a little bit closer to Corn. Like you said, that gap just keeps shrinking a little bit every lap. He's down just over 0.3 of a second. Sheldologist putting up a fastest lap there. A 1:39.760. That's hustling. And it can be so easy to make a mistake here. You know, like I said earlier, you get yourself just a little bit of wide or a little too tight, get those dirty tires, and there's so many technical turns on this track that dirty tires are not your friend.
Yeah, especially if you get it somewhere in that midfield section.
Yeah,
it can,
absolutely.
Really add unnecessary tense to your overall race time.
And we see the field starting to spread out just a little bit here. Corn and Sheldologist are in really good position here if they can just maintain their strategies, you know, run clean laps. They may be able to make that gap between Sheldologist and Stratos even a little bit bigger. They're almost just over 2 seconds away, and that seems to be climbing.
Sheldologist is all over the place, making his car as annoying as possible in Corn's rear view.
Boy, there's nothing like looking back and just seeing nothing but, you know, somebody else's bumper in your rear view mirror. It can be a little bit intimidating, and that's a strategy that some guys will use. They just want to make their presence known, make sure you know they're there in case you make a mistake.
Sheldologist, he might have a good run going into turn 1. I don't know, but it seems like that Genesis has got really good straight line speed. Even in a slip, that GTR is really not gaining that much.
No, the Genesis does so well. It really does. In my opinion, it's a very versatile car. It's got good straight line speed. It's also very controllable. You can drive that thing pretty easily. I would imagine Sheldologist wants to use that slip as much as possible. He's peeking on the inside. And it looks like he's going to take P1 away from Korn.
Yeah, manages to keep it on track coming out of turn 4.
Korn definitely positioned himself for trying to get that back. As you see replay here, Sheldologist just peeking on the inside. Forcing Korn to stay out, hitting the apex, using every bit of track he can, getting that pass done. Clean pass by Sheldologist.
I imagine Korn's going to do everything in his power to pull away from Korn now that he's got clean air. Really put those medium tires to good use.
Yeah, you said he's not the only one on mediums, but he was one of the only ones up in the front 5-6, right?
Yeah, so Sheldologist, Stratos is on mediums, running in 3rd, and he's actually the gap to top 2 in E3. It's now just to about a second, where it was close to 3 seconds a couple laps ago. And then PHG Arrow is our 3rd medium runner.
Okay. As we jump on board with JK.
So now it just actually goes a little deep going into turn 1.
We've got a pretty heated battle back here for 5, 6, and 7 with Arrow, JK, and then Flux Flare. Papa is not terribly far, just a second behind this group here. There we go, get a look at Papa.
Ooh, Sheldologist got it wrong coming out of turn 4. Slows down a little bit. Korn nearly rear-ends him, but manages to avoid contact. Now PhD Stratos, he's within a second of P2. So all of this argy-bargy is allowing Stratos to catch back up.
Yeah, they don't have much of a choice. You got to race each other, right? It's like I always hear people say you don't want to battle too much. It'll give everybody a chance to catch up with you. But you know what? You want to win, so it's hard not to do. And as you mentioned there, Stratos is now right there with the lead group.
He's going to have a great tow coming out of this final corner, assuming. Got pretty good exit from 3 of them.
Yeah, and we're just now finishing the 7th of 23 laps. Honestly, the medium tires for Stratos, as we're looking at him, those look like he's only run a couple laps. Pretty similar to what Korn's hards look. So it looks like he's doing a really good job.
Compared to Sheldologist, Stratos is having, his tires are in much better condition.
And that Lamborghini can be a little forgiving on the tires. As we jump on board with Flux Flare, and I mean, for example, look at those hards. I mean, it barely looks like he's used any traction on that. Plenty of tire left on those. And Arrow right behind him has gotten himself a half-second track limit penalty. Maybe just running a touch wide.
So towards the back, we've got 3 people in the pits. JK, Slowpoke, and Old Man Pip. Looks like they are all in the pits for mediums.
Yeah, we're jumping on board with JK coming out on those mediums, as you mentioned. And he's about, just under, well, 19 seconds off the lead there.
So and JK, he filled up his fuel tank, as did Slowpoke. Old Man Pip is about 95% fuel, so... Oh, he's got a 3-second penalty. Looks like he got a pit lane penalty.
Oh, he got a pit lane. Okay.
Yeah, this day just keeps getting worse and worse.
That pit is about, I want to say 17, 16 seconds total, depending upon how much fuel you take. So I see J Senior Jester going into the pits there as we ride along board with Strato in P3. Just over a half second behind Corn. Sheldologist still in the lead after 9 laps. Stratos is trying to close that gap, get into the slipstream there, and catch up to these two in front. Maybe try and put himself in a position to sneak another position ahead. And, you know, as you watch these leaders, Flux jump on board there. He ran just a smidge wide. I'd be surprised if he doesn't get a penalty out of that. There it is. There's his half second. Yeah. It is easy to do in this section because you're coming around that turn. You're trying to carry as much speed as you can. You want to push, and it tends to push your car out just a smidge wide. You see there his tires come just off. Real quick little half second for you, unfortunately.
Yeah, that corner here is notorious for penalties. Oh, Flux getting it sideways in the brakes. I think he clipped the grass under braking. Lost a bit more time to Arrow.
Handled it pretty well, though. That could have gone much worse. As they come into the last turn there, Flux is going to have to serve. And I would imagine Arrow will get by him. Arrow's trying to use as much of that slip as possible. Ducks to the inside. And hopefully Flux can sneak into that slipstream and keep up.
All right, Corn Identity pulls into the pits to change off of those hards. 4 of the hard runners behind, they pit on the previous lap. That's J Senior and JK. No, not JK. I believe it was I think Papa also pit that previous lap, as well as 2 of the other hard runners.
Yeah, I think Jester, JK, and Papa. Looks like Slowpoke's on a new set of mediums as well. Fredbird looks like a brand new set of mediums. Back on board with our leader, Sheldologist, who's got a good 3-second lead over Stratos. He's kind of out there by himself. He's going to run those mediums bald, I would bet. And that'll give us kind of a good idea of how many laps we're going to be able to see these guys getting out of the mediums. You see a lot of these guys switching to the mediums with about 13 laps to go. So, you know, I would imagine they're not planning on doing another pit to go to softs, but I've been proven wrong before.
I'm looking at the tire wear of the top 3, and honestly, I don't think it's going to be the tires that's the limiting factor. I think it's going to be the fuel.
Fuel? Yep. Yeah, like we saw yesterday, man, some of those guys, I don't remember exactly who it was. Somebody was pulling into the pits with 0 fuel, so they were pushing it to the absolute limits. That was Cornbread, yes. That was on almost just fumes as he was going into the pits. I mean, you can't cut it any closer than that. So I know nobody wants to run out of gas today.
As with gas prices where they are now, you need to use every drop of fuel.
That's right. As we watch Arrow coming across the start finish there with a 141.280. Flux Flare's gone into the pits to get off that hard compound.
It's about a 30-second gap between him and Corn Identity, so I think he's probably going to come out behind Corn, maybe in front of J Senior. J Senior's about a 1.5 seconds behind Corn, so we'll see where Flux comes out after this pit stop.
Yeah, and Flux had 38% fuel, so I'm watching it fill up now as we see Jester come across the start finish. And Flux is done filling. He took 87%, and you can see over there on the right-hand side, he is coming out of the pits. Looks like it's going to put him out right behind JK.
I think Papa might be able to attack and
I
go
think
into
you're
the
right.
peak in turn 4. Flux is going to hug the inside.
And, oh, they're going to go too wide. Not where I'd want to be too wide, but they're getting it done. Papa's going to tuck back in behind Flux.
I think he's just barely going to hold on to P7.
Yeah, and Papa's on the hards. Oh, I'm sorry, Papa's on the mediums. Excuse me.
His
So
tires
he's
are a
got
bit
some
more
traction.
warmed up, so maybe he'll be able to attack coming out of the final corner, maybe.
Yeah, it looked like Flux maybe slid just a little bit in that last turn, but Papa didn't necessarily seem to gain too much when that happened. Maybe just a touch heavy on the brakes coming in. There is a lot of technical driving these guys have to do through this track, you know, whether it be the trail braking that you're using, you know, making sure that you're getting to that apex, using all the track you can use to keep your speed up. There are a lot of technical things that can be done here to make yourself fast. Riding on board with JK, he's about 40 seconds off the leader and just over a half second behind J Senior.
Ooh, goes deep into turn 1.
Yeah, I was going to say that gap closed down quite a bit, but it was because he went in a little hot on. Jumping aboard with Papa, who's got a pretty good look at Flux Flair's bumper there. Just over 2/10 behind him. And we all know Papa wants to get past him. In the slip. Did not make a move there. I kind of expected him to try and get past him there, but yeah,
And a little squirrely coming out of turn 4, but manages to hold on to it.
Both of them with a little wiggle. And Flux is trying to make that car as wide as possible. Although Papa has an inside line, did not take it. He's looking. We'll put him on the
Missed the
outside.
apex.
Yep.
Papa tried to sneak in, but couldn't quite get his car there.
And Papa just continues to close on him. Staying close. It looks like Papa's not trying to do anything to jeopardize his race and just kind of hold his position for right now. I think Papa's looking for a good opportunity or a great opportunity. And
it's a pretty good exit coming out of the final corner. It's going to have great slipstream coming to the start-finish line. It's going to have a really strong attack coming into turn 1. Might even have the pass done before getting to turn 1.
Man, Papa touched right up behind Flux. It doesn't look like he's going for anything yet. Peeking inside a little bit. No move.
He stays put.
It can be enticing to make that move in turn 1 or 2. But boy, you can certainly get yourself into some trouble if you don't execute it correctly. Jumping on board with Angry Fredbird back in 10th position. About 53 seconds off the leader's pace. He's kind of out here by himself. He's got a 4-second gap between him and Slowpokes in front, and then Dirt McGirt about 11 seconds behind him. Fred is on a set of mediums. He's run a couple laps on that. There's Dirt McGirt, who has Old Man Pip maybe making a move on him. Old Man looks like he backed off just a smidge.
Keeping an eye on the leaders right now. Sheldologist is really struggling on his tires now. His last lap was a 41.1. Lap before that was a 42.1. Meanwhile, Stratos, he's still comfortably running 40s, and the gap between those two is just it's diminishing quickly.
Okay. And Dirt McGirt is doing a really good job holding off for the driver there. Jumping on board with number 2, there is Stratos. You can see him closing in on Sheldologist. Excuse me. Stratos is on the medium compound. Although I would say his fuel looks a little bit light. I don't know if he's going to get 9 laps out of that quarter of a tank. And like you said, Sheldologist has had a pretty good gap there. I haven't got a chance to see what his tires look like, but
They are not happy.
And there's
It's
a look at Sheldologist and his tires. That front right, boy, look at that thing. Whew.
so much understeer coming out of that corner.
Yeah,
Stratos might be able to attack coming out of his final corner.
it looks like he's going to. He's positioning himself. He's definitely got slipstream.
I got so much more traction out of that last corner.
Here he goes. Look at this. Nice move. He's on the outside. He's got the pace. Although they might end up going into turn one side by side. Sheldologist closed the door. There goes Stratos peeking outside. Sheldologist driving a little defensive here, making sure he's on the inside there.
Yeah, that was a really good defense. Manages to hold on to P1.
You know, to your point, as bad as his tires look, that's a lot of defending to do for, you know, he is going to have to pit. We know that much.
Stratos just can't seem to find a way around him.
No, that's the widest GTR I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see how this pit strat is going to come together. I mean, honestly, if I were in Stratos' shoes, I would maybe consider an undercut, because at this point now, Sheldologist is going to be holding the both of them up.
Yeah, that's true. You know, and that's a challenge. You don't want to put yourself in a compromising position getting by somebody, but then again, you don't want them holding you up too much if you have a better... Oh, a little bumping into turns there. Yeah, you got to imagine that Stratos is just climbing around in the seat trying to find a spot to get by this wide GTR. It is not a wide body kit, but it looks like one.
Yeah, so Stratos is again trying to go around the outside, but he tucks back into the slipstream, and Sheldologist is in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, there it is. I was curious how far he was going to push those tires, you know, with the way that the game is set up right now. Once you get to about halfway tire wear on those mediums, they're starting to get pretty slippery on them. Mediums and softs.
But now the question is, with the limited fuel that Stratos has, how much longer can he stay on those mediums? Because before he caught up to Sheldologist, as I mentioned, he was still comfortably running 40s on those tires.
Right. And we're on board with JK, who has Jesser right behind him, and he is just over a second behind Korn as they pass Arrow in the pits. JK pushing that thing, moving over to Flux Flare, who has Papa just over half second behind him. And he's got a couple seconds to catch up with Jester there. A couple 4, almost 5. But he has gone purple through the first section. Using all the track there, making sure to touch the apex on the inside. Setting himself up for this next section here.
Sheldologist, he came out in second. Corn Identity's actually, he tried to make a move going into the first right hairpin. Couldn't quite make it stick. There's a little bit of contact. But he's going to make the move on the inside before the second right-hand hairpin.
And Stratos has gone in the pits. So to your point, he made it 16 laps there, and looks like he's going to have to go in and get some fuel. He was down to 3%.
Now he's got to come out on those hards, and Corn Identity, he's on a flyer right now.
Yeah, he is, and if you look, he's got Sheldologist, JK, and J Senior pretty much in tow. So these guys are now coming over the start finish in just a second here, and we are positioning these guys up for a pretty wild finish, I would imagine. And as you see, Korn's got plenty of tire, plenty of fuel. I would imagine he's good to go here for the rest of the race. Just trying to get himself a little bit of space between that group of cars behind him. And boy,
Stratos
look at...
manages to stay. He managed to come out in first, but coming out of turn 4 gets a bit wide. Cornada is going to take the inside, easily taking the lead away from Stratos.
Wow, that pit almost worked for him. I mean, he came out right with that lead group, so he's not too far off pace. We'll go back and get a replay of this. Here's Stratos coming in first. You see, as you mentioned, he goes a little bit wide. Corn sneaks on the inside there. Stratos tucks himself back in. And we've got ourselves a lead group competing for the second split championship, or second split winner. Gesture sneaking inside, taking a spot there. So if you look, Stratos has gone back to P5 and is now battling with Gesture. So he definitely lost a few spots after that pit exit.
Yeah, now having to run those hards. I guess it just wasn't going fast enough on the medium stints.
And, like I was saying, I normally go with that softer compound first. That's the strategy Stratos took there, and teaching myself a little bit of lesson, that might not be the play, because he's coming out now, he's on the harder compounds, everybody else is soft compounds, and it looks like he just doesn't have that traction to quite keep up with them. There's not a huge difference in the lap times from mediums to hards, but it can be anywhere between a second, 2 seconds, depending upon the driver. Jumping on board with Papa. He's 7 seconds off the lead. You can see he's got Flux just under a second in front of him. And Slowpoke is a couple seconds behind him. Papa's going purple through the first section there.
So I got my eye on the Corn Identity with the half-second penalty.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
And JK is all over. Actually, he's going to try to make a move on the infield section.
Yeah, JK at the inside line. Looks like he's going to be able to get that move done. He's pushing Corn out to the outside.
I wonder if if Corn got dirty tires, because he didn't seem to have any grip in that section.
No, it looked like JK was able to really just pick his position and drive by. So I would imagine you're probably right. Let's take another look here. Oh, it looks like this is just after the penalty, but we're going to see the pass here. So there's Corn. Yep, staying wide. JK just jumps in, grabs that apex, drives right by. I would have to guess that dirty tires played into that from the penalty.
So Corn is actually going to lose second place as well to Sheldologist. I would imagine he would be able to get that back bit on the softer tire. But, we'll see.
And JK's starting to grab himself a little bit of a gap between him and Sheldologist. And you got Sheldologist, Corn Identity, J Senior, and Stratos running in 2, 3, 4, and 5. Flux Flare is in 6, Papa's in 7. Slowpoke running in 8.
Stratos picks up a half-second penalty, not sure where.
J Senior gets contact with Corn.
There was contact between J Senior and Corn, and Corn Identity is backwards. Oh no.
That's unfortunate. It didn't look like it was intentional. Let's take another look at here. You'll see him tuck himself just on the inside. Corn probably didn't know he was there. Just kind of rode into that back bumper and just unsettled Corn's car enough to really send him sailing. That's unfortunate.
And to make matters even worse, Corn also has a 1 second penalty.
Man, that's unfortunate. We jump on board with J Senior, or Flux, and you'll see you got a pretty good group there with Flux, Gesture, and Papa now. 4, 5, and 6. Flux with the half second he's going to have to serve on the next lap. Or is he serving it now?
He served it this lap.
He did serve it. Okay, there you go. So Papa jumps ahead of him into P5 and make that 4 as he drives right by Stratos on the outside. Papa went inside. Stratos was kind of wide.
Yeah, Stratos had to serve that 1 second penalty that lap.
Yep. And it looks like Papa is now eyeing up his next pass to be Jay Senior. Boy, Papa has had a great race. I mean, we've seen him back towards the back of the pack. Jay Senior going defensive there a little bit. Papa makes no move. Oh, look
he
at
makes
that!
the move down the inside.
It turned out the wrong way for Jay Senior. He showed defensive, went back outside. Papa said, "Thank you very much. I will take that freebie," and drove right on the inside. Let's take another look at it. There you go. There's the shift. He comes back out. Papa said, "No, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and duck in on you."
That was a send.
That was nice.
Move.
Really smooth pass. A little bit of contact there. I think Jay kind of turned in and maybe didn't realize Papa was sneaking through. And that was a good pass by Papa. You know, that's a great example. If somebody gives you an opening, you probably should. And look at Slowpoke and Flux. Stratos with another half-second penalty, unfortunately. He is having a tough go on these last few laps.
Thinks about a move going to the last corner.
We got a replay going here. And sneaking right on the inside. Nicely done. Well, these guys are making it happen. And we are coming up with 2 laps to go as they cross the line there. Or 3 laps, excuse me. I can count, I promise. Papa up to P3. Got himself past Gesture.
But Jester's going to be putting on pressure for these final 3 laps. And another question is, will these guys be able to catch up to Sheldologist, who, remember, is still on the hard? So the gap is just about 4 seconds. The last laps were about identical, though. Sheldologist with a 41.67, Papa with a 41.65. So, yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how these last few laps play out.
Yeah, 4 seconds feels like a large gap to make up in a couple of 2-3 laps, but it can be done. Let's see if we have any more drama between Papa and Jesser here in the last couple laps. Papa looks like he's running nice and smooth, touching those apexes, going out, using every bit of the track he can find. And Jay Senior just does not seem to have a good look to get past Papa. In the slip a little bit.
Yeah, he might be struggling on the tires a little bit. Papa's tires are marginally better, not much, but I don't know. It seems like the GTR, they're just struggling. That front right mainly just does not seem to be a big fan of this track.
As they go down the straight here. Gesture is closing on Papa with that slipstream a little bit. He maybe took a look inside, but couldn't quite get there. Papa makes easy work of that section there, getting onto the street. And let's see if we have a repeat, but roll reversal. Gesture peeking inside.
He stays
back
put.
To the out. Yep. Oh, Papa using
that was close. I think that was clean, but that was close to a penalty.
Great camera work from production to show us how close he came there. Man, we got a battle heating up. I think it is anybody's game here for 3, 4, even really 5. I mean, Flux is not out of that. These two keep battling or even get into each other by accident. Flux could just jump right on by.
I mean, he's within a second, so he'll get slit within his last within the front straight. So I mean, anything can happen. All this, they're not even really battling, but it's just, he's just been able to claw his way back. Now he's almost within a half second at this point.
Yeah, he has just closed that gap quickly. And, as I look at the upper right-hand corner, you'll see that track map with the little arrows that can kind of show you where everybody is. We're riding on board with Papa. He's got the red arrow. The two blue arrows in front of him are Sheldologist in second and JK in first. And you can see there's about almost, I was going to say almost 8 seconds, but they've kind of closed that down. It's probably closer to 8 seconds now between Papa and the leader. And Gesture ends up with a half-second penalty. That's unfortunate on the last lap.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
gonna
looks,
put P4 in jeopardy.
yeah, it looks like that'll seal up P3 for Papa if he can run himself a nice, clean final lap here. Flux is going to go ahead and take P4 from Gesture.
He decided
And
not
we'll
to
get a
wait for the
replay
penalty.
No, he said no thank you. And he pulled the same move Papa did. Look at that, jumping inside. Looks like Jester's got just a touch earlier brake spot on that turn than everybody else. And they took advantage of that and exploited it. Flux just drove right on by.
This will be inconsequential, but JK did pick up a half-second penalty he's going to serve before he finishes.
Yeah, I would bet that is inconsequential. I mean, I know Sheldologist isn't terribly far behind him, but I don't think he's close enough for a half-second to make it work. As we ride
Yeah, he's
on
got a
with,
6-second cap.
yeah, right on with Arrow now. Fredberg. And I think we're jumping over to JK as he's preparing to seal his victory for our second split drivers. Sheldologist is going to close it out with the second place. Papa coming in with the P3, Flux Flare in 4, Slowpoke Rods in 5, Corn Identity in 6, Gesture in 7, Stratos in 8, Arrow 9th. Angry Fredbird pulls in a 10th. And it looks like Old Man Pip and Dirt McGirt will close, well, not close out. We got, no, that'll close out the grid there for us. So there's Old Man Pip coming around the turn into the finish for his P11. And Dirt McGirt is just a touch behind there. Here he comes through the start finish for a P12. Fantastic race by these guys today. My goodness. A little bit of everything. You had some strategy, you had some penalty overtakes, you had some clean overtakes.
Yeah, we
That
had
was
we had
fantastic.
action up and down the field all the way up until the final lap.
Would you say that played out as you expected?
Well, yeah. I mean, when you look at Brazil in real life, it usually produces really good racing, and this was no different.
Yeah, no question. All right, let me take you here through our split 2 final results. We have JK85 running really good time there, taking his P1. Sheldologist coming in just under 5 seconds back. PHG Papa in P3, 6.5 seconds behind. Flux Flare coming in P4, 7.2 seconds back. Slowpoke Rods, 9.6 seconds for a 5th place. Corn Identity in 6th place, 11 seconds back there. Gesture taking P7, 13 seconds. PHG Stratos taking 8th place, 14.4 seconds off our leader. And here comes 9th place with Arrow. And he was 17.7 seconds off the lead there. Angry Fredbird in P10, 20.290. Old Man Pip in 11th, 39.5 seconds. And Dirt McGirt closing out our grid today with the P12. Yeah, like you said, man, this track definitely provides these guys opportunities for some awesome racing. It's easy to make mistakes. That's the way I look at it, whether it be a penalty or giving somebody too much room to steal the inside from you. We saw a little bit of everything. And when you're in a group of drivers with this skill level, boy, that is easy to give somebody a window to drive through. So, Chisholm, who would you say is your driver of the race today? for this split.
The race did not go the way that he wanted to with that unfortunate incident, but I would say Corn Identity. That first stint that he had on the hards, being able to keep pace with Sheldologist and Stratos on the mediums, that initially put him in a really good position to win overall. That contact on, not sure what lap it was, but that contact really messed up his race, and it's just unfortunate. But yeah, that would be my vote. Corn Identity. The first half of his race was really good, just didn't pan out in the end.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I mean, personally, I think for me, I'm going to pick Sheldologist. I thought he had a very good race. Like, he executed his strategy the way he wanted to do it. Really glad to see that he was able to keep that going and put himself in a good P2 spot. So looks like those are two solid drivers. Let us know in the chat. If you're in the Discord, I think there's also going to be a poll for driver of the day after the day's races are over. So write yourself down a little note who you like, and that's something you can jump into the Discord and participate in all the different conversations that go on with the PHG World Series. Oh man, take a breath. That was exciting. While that was exciting, we have two more exciting races to go. Before we get to those, we are going to take a quick break here, let the drivers get themselves situated and in cars, and we'll get started with Split 3 in just a little bit. Stay tuned.
The engine's roaring life in the fast lane. PHG weaving name, tearing up the game. Thunder on the track, speed never go lack. Pushing limits, breaking barriers It's a traveler's dream. Might stumble, fall, but we rise again. For the banner of PHG flies our friend. Great racers, yeah, better people. Rising like a phoenix, ain't no sequel. PHG, baby, we roll the steeple. Great racers, better people. Better people. Oh, baby. Better people. Engines roaring life in the fast lane. PHG, we've been named, tearing up the game. Thunder on the track, speed never go lack. Pushing limits, breaking barriers, and looking back. Tires screaming as we take that turn. Fuel and fire in our hearts we burn. Opponents in the mirror, they can't keep up. Keep the throttle down, never wanna let up. Great racers, yeah, better people. Rising like a phoenix, ain't no sequel. PHG, baby, we roll the steeple. Great racers, better people. Team strong, bonds like no other. Brothers, sisters, ain't no undercover. Victory sweet, but honor even sweeter. Every race together makes the fight deeper. Crowds chant as the lights go green. Adrenaline rush, it's a traveler's dream. Might stumble, fall, but we rise again. For the banner of PHG flies our friend. Great racers, yeah, better people. Rising like a phoenix, ain't no sequel. PHG, baby, we roll the steeple. Great racers, better people. Great racers, yeah, better people. Rising like a phoenix.
And welcome back. We are preparing for our second race of the afternoon. And I got to correct myself. I misspoke earlier. This is going to be split 4. And then next we're going to see split 5. So our second split drivers put on a really good show for us. Man, I have to be remiss. There is one driver that neither one of us mentioned for driver of the day. I saw him in the poll and I went, oh yeah, Papa. Papa didn't have the best position to start that race and ended up getting a P3. So definitely another contender for driver of the day there. What a great job by all those guys. Okay. We are going to get into our next race here. So we're just going to give you guys a quick look at the round info. So again, this is round 2. Interlagos, 23 total laps. They're going to qualify first for their starting positions. They're doing, 2 times on the tire wear, racing hards and mediums required. We have not seen anybody run that soft compound, so maybe this will be the race for that. Fuel is at a 4 times burn rate, and they are in their GR4 cars in their preferred manufacturers. So these guys are getting into their cars. We're going to go through the drivers that are going to be included in this split. Tism, do you mind giving us the lowdown on the driver list here?
Sure thing. We have PHR Beavis 75 driving the McLaren, PHG Nasty in the Ford, PHG Geezer Gears, he's driving the Ferrari, RSR Zilla driving for Lexus, PHG KW47 driving for Dodge, Bugle Fingers driving for Ford, RSR Pablo Chacon driving for Lamborghini, PHR Fernando B driving for Chevrolet, and TCR Stiggy in the Alfa Romeo.
That is a strong group of drivers there as well. So we know these guys are going to be looking to secure some additional points for their manufacturers here in our fourth split. And then we will have one more to go after that. So tell us in chat which driver you want to win our fourth split today, or maybe just which manufacturer you're looking for to come out on top through this race or driver. And it looks like the drivers are just now getting onto track. We're going to jump over to qualifying.
We're all waiting patiently in the pits.
It looks like we're going to jump on board with Turbo for the first couple minutes of his exit out of the pits. Anybody in this lineup particular, the Tism, that you're rooting for?
I feel like considering this is a PHG event, I have to root for PHG. So, let's see. You know, I like the name. Let's go with PHG Turbo. Also, I really like that livery too.
I do too. That's a really good looking livery. Turbo was going to be my choice, honestly. So, I think he's got some definite skill. Some of these drivers I'm not terribly familiar with, so I think this could go any way for some of those guys. Fernando B, their repping Team Chevy in the Corvette. That's a good looking livery itself there. I believe that is yep, there you go on the back. That is a Salamander Special. Salamander
creativity of these livery. I don't know why I keep saying liberties. Liveries. The creativity of these liveries, like the snakeskin on the Viper here, like that.
Yes.
That looks beautiful.
Yeah, the snakeskin looks fantastic on the Viper. Zilla's got a really sharp looking livery there too. RSR. There's PHG Nasty in the Nasty Monster. I think Monster's nasty, but that's my opinion. Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I prefer Monster over Red Bull.
I don't care for any of them, to be honest with you, but
that's fair.
I'm a picky eater, so be it. There is PHG Stiggy. McBugle Fingers. My wife would love that one, the Dr. Pepper livery.
It's a pretty good combination, Dr. Pepper and Bugles.
And there's Mr. Geezers. All right, as we ride on board with Team Corvette, Fernando B. Another Midwestern here. And he is trying to put up as many points for Team Chevy as possible. Well, that gold is shiny, isn't it? Woo!
Oh, yeah.
And Fernando does quite a bit of racing.
Yeah, he's exiting the section, which I would imagine the Corvette isn't that great in that infield section.
Right. See him taking that last left, going uphill. And let's see what kind of first lap he's going to put in here. 7, 8, I'm saying 42. 41. 41-2. That's certainly a respectable starting time there for a first lap out. KW47.
Turbo 41.3 puts him in P2.
And we are currently on board with Zilla, sitting in well, it was 5, now it's 6.
And the Bugle Fingers goes P2, 141.3.
Woo! And he's in the Mustang, isn't he? Yeah, look at that. How often do you see American cars 1 and 2?
Maybe Daytona.
Right? Yeah. Chevy and Ford. And I don't know that I realized he was, McBugleFingers was a Brazilian driver. Oh, okay, that may be an alt account. That would make sense.
So top 3 right now, they're separated by just over a 10th.
Yeah, that is tight.
This looks like it's going to be a really close qualifying between those 3. Actually, P4 is also within that, about a 10th and a half behind P1.
And let's see, Fernando coming across the line, did not beat his previous time. And KW47 decides he's going to go ahead and beat it with a 1 flat.
But Turbo goes even faster with the 40.4. Where did that come from?
Wow, that's quick. Very nice. Nice job, Turbo. Making me look like Nostradamus all of a sudden over here. And it looks like Zilla and Nasty have gone into the pits to get themselves either a fresh set, I would imagine a fresh set.
So Zilla reset to the pit because he has a full tank of fuel now, whereas Bugle Fingers and Nasty, they both manually pit, so they'll have a slightly lighter car for the remainder of their laps. Might play a difference.
Yeah, Turbo is running himself a nice clean lap here. It doesn't look like he's pushing too far onto the rumbles. Looks like he's just being nice and smooth with it. Sometimes the fastest laps are the ones that look easy.
Yeah, when I watched Top Gear, they always said when they had to start a reasonably priced car, when the laps look slow, they're actually the fastest laps that you see.
Yeah, I'll never forget. I did some coaching with Mullet, if anybody knows him. Smooth is fast. You know, the more you push, sometimes it can make you slower because, you know, you're pushing yourself too hard. You're getting too far outside. You know, you can't force the car to do things. You got to do things with the car.
Very true. All right, so
And
PHG
Turbo
improves again by another half a second.
Into the 39s. 139.938.
Is an entire second above P2 right now.
Right.
Actually, yeah. Yes, P2, yeah.
Yeah,
Times
that
were
says
throwing
something,
me off
man.
a little bit.
He's definitely been putting in some practice laps to get to that. That is a very respectable time. You know, at first watching him 141, I'm thinking, oh man, these guys are doing well. I might be able to hang with a couple, but not at 138, 39, not a chance. And we're jumping on board with Mick Bugle. Oh, moving over to Nasty. In that nasty monster car. Team Ford. And let's see, he is cruising on down.
First sector line.
Yep.
Set a
Looks like a personal best.
by 4
Yep.
tenths, so keep this pace. You know, it does have fresh tires, less fuel, so have a couple more attempts with a lighter car, see if you can improve that qualifying position.
Yeah, and he's got nothing but room. I mean, if you look at the course map up on the upper right-hand side of the screen, you can see there is nobody anywhere near him. So that's good and bad. He's not getting any slipstream, but then again, he's not dealing with any dirty air either. I think it can sometimes be a double-edged sword when you're in qualifying if you got, a bunch of dirty air that's tearing your tires up, but you can also take advantage of the slipstream when you're qualifying near somebody else.
KW, he just improved to a 40.6. He's still about 7/10 behind Turbo, who is now in the pits. I think he might be calling it a session, so he's not going to get another lap if he were to exit the pits now.
No, 9:12 into the 10 minutes. I think you're 100% right there, and he's probably going to sit back and watch and see what happens there. Riding on board with Zilla.
This guy's going to have one more attempt to try and dethrone Turbo. Zilla coming across the first checkpoint. He is 1/10 down on his current best lap. Looks like Bugle Fingers just set a new PB. He's now up to P3.
P3, yep. You see Fernando's dropped down to 5. Bugle Fingers in 3. Zilla in 4. Stiggy 6. Nasty in 7.
Geezer Gear sets a new personal best. He's up in a P8.
And we're going to stick with Zilla here for a second.
Somebody just went wide.
Oh, was that Fernando, I think?
Maybe. Couldn't quite see, but yeah.
Yeah, I see that shiny gold down off into the distance, and he has gone back to the pits. Staying on board with Zilla here. He's got one more turn to go. This is their final lap.
AW did improve his lap again, but still not quite enough to take pole away from Turbo. 40.59, 6.5 behind.
And I think Zilla is coming across the line now. There he is. Let's see if he can improve on what he's got. 41.037 does not look like an improvement to his 40.9. Here's Mr. McBugle Fingers.
He's a half second down after sector 2.
Yeah, and you're not really going to make a whole lot of time up on that last section unless you've got somebody pulling you along, I don't think. So let's see if that changes. No, I don't believe it did. Are we going to get a look? We might get to see what happened to Fernando here. We're riding on him. Just takes the Corvette wide, dirty tires. Yep, tough to control it when you get all 4 of them like that. That put him into the wall, and that was what ended Fernando's qualifying session there. So McBugle Fingers with a 141.2 for his last lap did not improve.
Geezer Gear improves his time, but does not improve his position.
And looks like our grid is about set, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that is everybody through on their final laps. Don't think anybody else is running currently. So yeah, I think that is quali. All right, let's take a look at our starting grid here for today's race. So we've got PHG Turbo in the Porsche with our pole. PHG KW47 in the Viper, running in P2. McBugle Fingers, P3. He is Team Ford in the Mustang. RSR Zilla, P4. He is in the... That's the Lexus. P5. That is a PHG. Nasty in Team 4 driving the Mustang. Fernando Buttons, P6. Team Chevy Corvette. PHG Stiggy in P7. And he's driving the 4C. And then we have Geezer Gears in the Ferrari. P8. So that is our starting grid for our next race here today. I think Turbo might be the choice for me still. I don't know that I'm going to change my thoughts after watching that quali. Tism, what about you? Any changes in your perspective after that?
No, I didn't realize I was psychic. I guess now I got to go play the lottery if he does win this race.
Right? Yeah. And it looks like we are actually going to get a driver edition here. It's just Carl is going to jump into the lobby and start in P9. So we've got an extra driver hopping in for our race today. Good luck to It's Just Carl's. Unfortunately, he didn't get to qualify, but jumping in here, they're going to start him back at P9 and see if he can gain any positions from there. So based
we're
on
gonna we're just gonna take a minute or two to get the lobby reset up, get the grid set up, and we'll get our race started in just a couple moments. Yeah, another race I'm really looking forward to. Like you said, Slow-Mo, the Turbo, all eyes are gonna be on him. So I'm wondering, if anybody's gonna try to do some off the wall strategy, maybe to try to throw Turbo off of his game. I don't know. What would you do in this situation? Say you're P2 chasing down Turbo. What would your strategy be?
If I'm P2 and I just got done with quali and I saw that he is 0.7 of a second faster than me on his fastest lap, I am going to do everything I can to work with the drivers around me. I feel like if you get a good teammate out there, maybe some pushes on the straights or vice versa, you're pushing somebody else along, maybe you can help close that gap up. Other than that, I'm just going to keep my car on track, make sure I'm pointed the right direction. And I personally, I'm not going to fight anybody for positions in the first half of the race. I'd probably wait to try to be patient until we got to the end and see if I could get myself in a good spot for that. What do you think? Would you do anything different?
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, like just seeing someone 0.7 faster than me over the course of a lap, like that would be discouraging for me. I don't know. I just have to honestly, I would just have to hope for the best. Maybe I might even just say, all right, I'm racing for second. And I've had races where I'm like, okay, I know this person is extremely fast. I just have to fight for second. I've raced against people that were clearly out of my league. I know where I stand. Maybe in this lobby, in this race, P2 is what I need to be fighting for.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good approach. You just got to run your own race sometimes, and it can be intimidating when you're looking up and man, that guy's almost a second faster than me in qualifying, but that's not the end of the world. So you still got to run the race. Anything can happen. For me, I'm optimistic. I'm hoping maybe that guy gets out there, pushes too hard, dirty tires into the wall, something goes wrong. So, I think you just got to give yourself a chance to be in it, and that's always the approach I take. So we are seconds away from starting our finals here. The grid is set. One note to keep in mind, our driver who is starting in P7, that's Stiggy, is actually running with food poisoning today. So hopefully he doesn't have any tummy issues during the race and can get through these 23 laps cleanly. So our grid is set. They are about to start rolling tires here. And we are moving. Oh, and it looks like Papa has joined us here in the broadcast booth. Hey, Papa, how you doing today? Great job.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank
Woo,
you.
good race, buddy. Woo, that was awesome. And we are past
pumping.
Past the start finish. Turbo is off and running. So we've got Turbo, followed closely by K-Dubs, McBuglefinger, Zillow, Nasty, Fernando, and Stiggy. And then we've got Geezer Gears in 8th, and I would imagine it's just Carl still back there in 9th. So no position changes just yet. Jumping on board with Nasty. As you see, Fernando Buttons peeking on the inside. It looks like he is going to try and get a turn done here. Move done in the turn. He's got that inside position. And let's see.
I'm going to stay side by side for a little bit.
Yeah, they're going to go door by door for a lap or so. That could be all right.
Nasty's going to have the inside for the double right-hander. Looks like Nasty will hold on to P5.
Yep, Fernando tucks back in behind him.
All right, so we actually have interesting strategy. So Turbo's on mediums, KW is on hards, Bugle Fingers is on mediums, Zilla is on hards, Nasty and Fernando is on mediums, Stiggy and Geezer Gears is on hards. And we have a soft runner. It's just Carl has started on the softs.
How about that? Okay, so it's like every other car is on a different compound. Carl, but in the back on softs, huh? With no warm-up.
Carl
Wow.
just actually took P8 from Geezer, so he's already putting those softs to good use.
Yeah, Fernando looks like losing a little bit of room there on Nasty, but he might be able to get it back here through the straight if he can tuck into the slip. And we jump on board here. Zilla running wide. Oh, wow, that almost looked like a netco issue. That was kind of interesting.
I think that is netco. Yeah, that was some wild rubber banding.
Yeah, Zilla didn't really do anything out of the. It just kind of looked like he was
Fingers.
bouncing around a little bit.
He messed up in a center S's. He got a 5-second penalty. Sorry, half-second penalty.
Okay.
And he's dropped down to P8.
And it looks like it's just Carl on the soft is trying to peek up for another position. Let's go see if we can take a look at what happened to McHugel Fingers. Whoa, just a little bit slippery, dirty tires, all on the inside of that turn there. Not where
right in the
you want
grass,
to be.
just a little too much.
Here's the Hugo Fingers we're riding on board with. He's got his half-second penalty. Did we lose
Carl trying to
Papa?
make a move on the outside for P6. So it's just Carl. He's making his way up through the grid. He's up to P6 now. Gonna be chasing down Fernando for P5.
Yeah, that soft strategy might pay off for him, although he definitely has to take an extra pit stop because he has 2 compounds that he is required to use in mediums and hard. So let's see if that plays out in his favor. And as we jump on board with Turbo, he is stretching it out a little bit. He is just over a second ahead of K-Dub in second position. And trying to put himself some nice, smooth, clean laps down. 147 for his first lap, 141 for his next. So he is warming up, and once you get those medium tires nice and warmed up, you can really let it rip. So let's see if Turbo is going to try and put some lower times down. As we look at Fernando moving up the grid, he's got himself an inside line here to try and get a move past Nasty. And jumping on the curve. Oh, he's a little contact there. I think he might have got that move done, though.
Oh, it's just Carl's also going to sneak on the inside to take P5 from Nasty. So that's 2 positions lost for Nasty in 1 corner.
And Nasty does not want to give it away. I don't know if I'd call that pass from Fernando clean. There was a touch of contact, but I don't think it was anything to be a problem. There's Carl on the soft compound, and he is looking for an opening to get past Fernando V. Fernando goes a little wide, but keeps that door closed.
He's going to go for a switchback, maybe. No, he's going to stick behind for a little bit. Peeking his nose on the left-hander, but thinks better of it. Just needs to focus on this exit in this final corner, and he should have a good chance of getting around Fernando.
Yeah, he's got those soft compounds, and he is going to try and follow these guys, use the slipstream, and just make a pass as they get into some of those technical sections that maybe that grip is going to pay off more. You see Fernando taking a defensive position there on the inside. I don't know that that's going to pay off. Let's see how it works. Here goes Carl. It looks like he's going to consider driving up next to Fernando. And backing out a little bit, probably a smart play.
Fernando's line's compromised going into the center S's. Carl all over the bumper of Fernando. He's going to have great slipstream coming into turn 4.
Carl trying to get himself an inside line. Nope, Fernando says not today, so back out.
And Fernando out of turn 4.
Yep, dropping back. Boy, Fernando's trying to get in the way and just watching every move he makes.
Oh, but he's going to lose it on the double right-hander. Carl up into P4. Oh, a little bit of
Fernando made a little bit of a contact, yeah, sending Carl wide, but Carl does a great job maintaining that. Keeping his car pointed in the right direction.
Fernando's not giving it up. He's tried to stick his nose down the inside. Won't quite make that stick. Yeah, that's Carl up into P4. He's flying through the field.
So there we are, still riding along with It's Just Carl. You can see Fernando right in tow, Nasty not far behind him, and then Stiggy also in the mix. So a lot of action going on here in the back of the pack. Turbo is still in first. We've got KW in second, Zilla in third, and obviously we've been watching pretty close to this battle for P4. Jumping on board with Nasty as they come across the start-finish. We're seeing some really good lap times from these guys. There's Nasty coming in. He is not quite as close to Fernando as he wants to be, so maybe he's got to be trying to position himself to get something done here, right?
Yeah, he might be close enough to go for a lunge into turn 4. Really think he's going to go for it. It's just a bit too far back. Have to sit tight for a few more corners and maybe try again on lap 6.
You know, after watching qualifying, you know, if I'm behind somebody, I am going to try and bide my time. There are mistakes to be made, like we've talked about before. So, you know, Fernando obviously a little wide there, but tightens it up there in the second half of that two-part right-hander. And that Corvette can get slippery if you're you know, not smooth with your inputs. I think there you go. You see Fernando running wide. I don't think that was going to be a penalty. Looked like he definitely kept a couple tires on the rumble. Looks like he's gotten through that unscathed.
Yeah, I think any manufacturer choice here, running anything other than 4-wheel drive, I think they're going to be at a massive disadvantage, because it seems like no matter what track you go to, 4-wheel drive is going to be the go-to for Group 4.
Yeah, I'm one of those 4-wheel drive guys. I mean, I love 4-wheel drive vehicles. In real life, I drive a 4-wheel drive vehicle. When it comes to racing, I generally will lean towards them anyway. So that's my personal pick. As we jump back on board with It's Just Carl, who's still holding his P4, he's under a second from Zilla and has a little bit of space between him and Fernando now in P5. Almost 2 seconds. So
yeah,
Carl
going to be starting to feel that tire wear pretty soon. His front right is about 30% worn right now, so he's not going to have a whole lot of tire life left with those softs.
And Carl's got his windshield wipers on. I wonder if somebody's spitting on his windshield or something. Yeah, I agree. I think those soft compounds, you know, what do we expect? 6 or 8 laps out of them tops. And you know, I don't know what he's planning on doing. Is he going to do like a 1-lap hard stint, maybe something like that? I guess we'll see how he plans on approaching this. But 2 pit stops is going to add up. That's definitely going to make a difference. So he needs to get as many positions early on in the as he possibly can.
Yeah, I think if I were in Carl's shoes and I was trying the soft strat, my next pit stop would be to pit for hards, and I would just do, as you said, 1 lap on hards, and then
Carl
finish the.
It looks like he's making a move on Zilla for 3rd place. Nice move by Carl there. He was closing that gap. He just got himself into a good spot. Zilla was just a smidge wide. Carl drove right down the inside. Let's take another look at that here. We're riding on board with It's Just Carl. There is Zilla in front of him. You can see Carl's going to sneak inside here. Zilla can't quite close that door. A little bit later on the brakes for Carl than Zilla, and that was the difference to get him into that P3 spot. Now he is trying to close down that gap to P2.
Oh, you actually just called it slow-mo. He did 6 laps on the softs. He is in the pits now. We'll wait to see what he comes out in. And KW, he's also in the pits from the hards.
Okay, it looks like KW is going to try and really stretch those mediums out, or maybe he's thinking of a soft stint. So, we took a look at our leader there with PHG Turbo, who is 4.7. Oh, wow, that's getting bigger. Almost 5-second gap now between him and Zilla. Zilla's got Fernando B, not far behind him, with Nasty in 4th and Stiggy in 5th.
So KW does come out on the mediums. I suspect he will be good for the end of the race. And it's just Carl is doing his hard stint now.
Hard stint, okay. Let's see how many laps he puts on those hard tires before he moves over to the medium. Jumping on board with Zilla. And Zilla is looking ahead, sometimes it's tough when you're in that P2 spot, like we talked about before the race. That guy put up a really good qualifying time. You want to try and push to do everything you can to keep up or catch up. But sometimes, man, the car just gets smaller in front of you, and that's just how you got to do it. So it looks like Fernando is trying to close that gap between him and Zilla. And it is, I think it's getting a little bit bigger here through the straight. Looks like Zilla had a good speed carrying it through.
Yes, I hope that Zilla knows that even though, Turbo did have the massive advantage in qualifying, Turbo is on the softer of the two compounds, so only losing 5 seconds. This race might come to him in the second half when he switches to the mediums and Turbo has to get onto the hard tire.
Yep, that's a very good point. So those tire compounds can change a lot when you're running door to door with somebody or trying to make that to catch up with them or close that gap. And Fernando is within just over a half second of Zilla. There we go. We jump on board with Fernando in P3. You can see he's got Nasty not too far behind, within a second of him, and Zilla in front about a half second. The Nasty Mustang. And these guys are some pretty good laps here. I mean, if you look at the consistency, we're looking at Nasty right now. He's 142, 143, 142.8, 142.7, 142.3, 141.9. So he's actually dropping a little bit of time as he keeps going here, and that will play an enormous factor in closing that gap. Maybe Fernando and Zilla are going to do a little bit of battling here. Let's see. Fernando is peeking inside, trying to get into the straight. Use the slip a little bit.
Side by side.
Yeah, he's got some speed on him. Don't know that he's going to get it done, but he definitely is in a position to... Oh, there we go. Zilla with an early break.
I think Fernando may have made that stick. I thought he went deep into turn one, but...
I did too. Yeah, he made that work. No problem.
So Zilla's going to counterattack coming out of the center S's. They're side by side. Zilla's going to have the inside line.
And you are talking about two very fast cars.
Fernando almost going wide, but I think he kept it within track limits. But I think Zilla's going to have the advantage and take back P2. All the while, Nasty is now right on the bumper of Fernando. So now he's going to be grabbing, looking for those podium positions now.
Oh, and there you go.
Fernando down the inside, taking P2 right back. They're going at it right now, but all of this is losing them time to Turbo. They've lost 2 seconds to Turbo within the last 2 laps, so they might want to rethink all this battling, although I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, no, this is great racing right here. And we are just about to finish up the 9th lap out of 23 laps for these guys. As you see, Fernando is currently holding that second position with Zilla right behind him. And Zilla running a little bit wide. I don't know if that's dirty tires or not, but he definitely touched the grass a touch. Let's take another look at that. Here's Fernando sneaking nice and cleanly through the inside turn. And keeping that door closed.
Zilla's doing a really good job on those hard tires. He's, kind of I wouldn't say messing up, but like he's definitely distracted Fernando and Nasty on the medium. So yeah, as I mentioned before, like when he switches onto those medium tires, this race could definitely open up for him.
Yeah, these three drivers are just all over each other right now. So looking for another opportunity to take that position back from Fernando. And at the same time, it looks like Nasty's just been back there biding his time, waiting for either of these guys to battle too much. And there you go, Fernando with the half-second penalty. That is going to cost him probably that 3 and 4 position if I had, or well, probably put him in 4th position by the time he's done serving that penalty. Let's see if we can see where he got that. Inside. Oh, yep, there you go. Just running a little bit wide out there, getting all 4 tires off track.
Turn 4 again. I'm telling you, it's dangerous. You got to be extremely careful.
Yep. Yep. It's really easy to bumble that turn up. Too much speed and you can't quite point your car through it. Ends up wide, just as we saw. A lot of times I've also seen people over brake going into that turn and they just make themselves too easy to get by. So here we go, Fernando's serving.
It's going to drop. Drops down to P4 after that penalty. Zilla's pulling into the pits to get off of the hard tires.
So we have Turbo in the lead, Nasty in P2, Fernando B in P3, McBugle Fingers in P4. We'll have to see where Zilla comes out of the pits at. Right now, he's in 5. That could change. K-Dub in 6, Stiggy in 7th, and Geezer Gears is currently in 8th. We haven't seen anything from It's Just Carl, although he does have fastest lap. He's down there in 9th.
It looks like he did make both of his pit stops because he's now on the medium, so he should be good to go for the rest of the race. One thing I want to mention about Turbo is that he's fuel saving a bit. I'm looking at the fuel for other drivers. He's only down to about half a tank, so it looks like what he's looking to do is going to try to make the tank last the entire lap, or excuse me, the entire race, and then maybe just pit on lap 22, switch to hards, and then finish one final lap on the hards.
Wow. That is a smart play. I mean, you know, there's a lot of different strategies you can try and implement as you're going through here. You know, that's one of those things. I wonder if that was a race time decision. I put up a really good qualifying lap. Let's see if I can put a little bit of a different strategy in play here. And it looks to be working with him 7.5 seconds in front of the next driver, being Fernando B. There you go with Nasty in P3. And he is trying to hunt back down Fernando B. And McBugle Fingers in P4. A little bit behind. I don't think he's quite getting the slip on the straight there. And correct me if I'm wrong, but generally the slip is about a half second, right? If you're outside of that half second mark, you're probably not getting into the slip, right?
No, it's at least 1 second, and I've seen people say maybe in some classes it's 1.2 seconds.
Really? I don't know that I knew it was quite that large. Okay.
Yeah, for group 4 it might be a little less, probably closer to a second, but yeah, I think in most categories it's a second, around a second.
Okay. Well, that makes a big difference then. So, obviously Nasty or McBugle Fingers wants to get within that slip. That makes a huge difference. Closing on the driver in front of you.
I would say he's about 6/10 behind, so yeah, he'll definitely get some slip if he can maintain that gap out of the final corner.
Yep, and it looks like McBugle Fingers is closing a little bit to Nasty, although it's like an accordion, you see that delta drop and then it just bounces right back up. So those two are pretty much 1.3 seconds away from each other. Here you go, Nasty's closing in a little bit, 1.2, just about a second.
Went just a bit too wide, pushed a bit too much out of that final corner, and now instead of 1.3 seconds, he's just lost 5/6 tenths going into the final corner.
Almost to 2 seconds. Yep, there's the difference right there. And Fernando and Nasty continue to trudge forward. Turbo just putting on a masterclass of how it's done with this group.
Yeah, he's got plenty of fuel, plenty of tires, and still running fairly competitive laps, even with all of the conservation that he's doing right now.
There's a good look at the Fernando B Corvette. BHR Brigsby, or Beehive Racing, excuse me. Haven't talked to Brigsby in a while. Hope he's doing good. B, if you're watching, howdy doody, buddy. Hopefully you're out there rooting on your teammate. And, Fernando's really doing a good job keeping his car in a good position. It doesn't look like he's pushing too hard. If you look at his laps, he does have a 141.9, but the rest of them are 42s, 43s. So, well, I guess lap 8 was his personal best, 141.3. But, for my perspective, I think I generally make the most mistakes when I push too hard, try and catch up with somebody. So you got to run your own race.
Yeah, I think he's, trying to manage the gap as best as he can. Looks like he took about a half a tenth off during the infield section. So, we'll see. He's at about a quarter of a tank of fuel. So, yeah, again, the fuel's definitely going to go before the tires do. We have to wait and see what he can do on the hards with all the tire saving and fuel saving that Turbo's doing. Maybe he can put down some hot laps on the hards and maybe try to close that gap to P1.
Moving over to take a look at K-Dubs and that Dodge Viper. And he is about, let's call it 27 seconds back from P4. And then he's got about 3 seconds between him and P6 and Zilla. And you can see with K-Dubs, he's got pretty decent tires. Looks like he's got plenty of fuel to get through the rest of the race. Our top 4 have not yet pit, so that is still coming. You would have to guess that's going to be any lap now, right?
So yeah, looking at Bugle Fingers, he's at about 1/8 of a tank of fuel. Nasty, he's in the red. Fernando's still at just under a quarter. Turbo, he's in a whole nother world right now. He's good. If he didn't have to use the hards, I would imagine he would no stop this race.
Wow. That is impressive, especially seeing, we saw the guys in the previous stint, they were on mediums for 13, 14 laps tops. It looks like he's got enough oomph to get through the entire race. That's impressive.
I'm curious to see what his finishing time will be compared to other stints, just to see how fast or how slow that strat was. Nasty's in the pits, off in the mediums, 4 liters of fuel left. He's about 30 seconds in front of KW, so I suspect KW will be moving up into P4 when Nasty comes out.
Yeah, just like you said, 1, 2, and 3 are still pushing forward. Man, I have to imagine you're probably right on the mark with what Turbo strategy may be, and that's just run the wheels off of it until you absolutely have to change to the hards, and then just close it out. So if you're looking at K-Dub right now, he's about 36 seconds behind the lead, 26 from McBugle Fingers in third. So the field has spread out quite a bit on this one.
So Fernando, in his pursuit to catch up to Turbo, he's actually picked up a half-second penalty. So all that work he did to close that gap, it's now going to be undone.
That's unfortunate, and it happens very easily, unfortunately, sometimes. You take a look at Fernando in that shiny Corvette, and you can just see McBugle Fingers a little bit back there if you keep watching. He's just coming into the screenshot every once in a while, as you see. There he is. So he is 4 seconds back of Fernando, and he has very little fuel left.
Yeah, I suspect if he doesn't pit now, it's definitely going to be next lap. But yeah, he's pulling in now.
Yeah, Bugle Fingers going into the pit now. Fernando's staying out. And we jump on board with our current leader. Just cruising along. He's just over a tank of fuel. You see there his medium, more than enough tread. That is some impressive tire management from Turbo.
I don't even see how that's possible.
Right.
He has better tires than people who have already pit. He has 16 lap old mediums, and his tires are better than. Actually, I was looking at the wrong. I think I had the wrong car. Never mind. But even still, it's
Yeah.
incredible tire management, incredible fuel management.
Yeah, and take a look at his lap times, for example. You know, that is very consistent. So 141.8, 42.4, 42.4, 42.1, 43.2, 41.9. I mean, you know, there are some laps that looks like he's pushing a little bit, and some others that it looks like he's, you know, maybe not pushing quite as hard. But to have that consistency with that much tire management, it is just exceptional. And, you know, maybe he's doing, like you said earlier, maybe he's doing some fuel saving that's not really pushing the tires quite as hard as some of the other guys are. You know, it just really seems to maybe make that much of a difference. Fernando is about 7 seconds back. We jump on board with Fernando for a second here. I believe he has served his penalty. Oh, and he's actually going into the pits here with 7% fuel left, or 7 gallons left.
KW might actually pip another position. He's 28 seconds behind Fernando.
Yeah, I believe he is the top runner out of the folks who have pit, right? So, you know, you look at Fernando's in the box right now. We've got Turbo who's still got to go. I don't know if... There you go. There's K-Dub going past Fernando in the pits. Fernando's moving on down, and he is making his pit exit now. Looks like he's going to come out in P5 or 6.
KW running a really quiet race, but so far the strategy is working out for him. I believe he's had clean air ever since he came out of the pits, and he's just been pipping people off one by one as they pit.
Yeah, there you go. We're jumping on board with Stiggy for a second here. Oh, looks like he ran that just a touch wide. I don't know if that's going to be a penalty or not, but that looked like it could have been. It looks like he might have got away with it. Yeah. Yeah, that was quite close by 1 pixel maybe. And Stiggy is eyeing up Zilla in front of him, who's just over, well, that gap is shrinking. 2.2 seconds at this point. So Sticky is going to try and close that out here in the next couple laps and see if he can gain himself one more position before the race is over.
It looks like he was 0.6 faster than Zilla on that last lap.
Boy, the more I see that Zilla livery, the more I like. That looks really good.
That's really well done.
And you can disregard the little fuel warning there for whatever lobbies like this. It'll give that to us. That is not true for Zilla. You could look down at the fuel gauge. He is just under a half tank of fuel. So sometimes these lobbies can act a little goofy when we're in as a viewer. And we are on board with K-Dubs right now in P2. You see Zilla right behind him and Stiggy behind Zilla. And if you look at that delta between him and Turbo, I think Turbo has no problems getting a pit done and coming back out in P1 still. There's no way a pit's going to take him 36 seconds.
Yeah, especially with the fuel saving that he's doing, like not having to refuel, that's going to save him a few seconds as well.
Right.
And then even though he'll be coming out on the hards, I think he'll still have enough of a cushion to be able to survive one lap on those tires.
Yeah, I have been standing the whole race. This is a good one.
Yeah, this one's more of a battle of wits than overall, track position.
Yeah, I mean, K-Dub's a great example of that. Fernando B is unfortunately on the other side of that example. He, had a really good race. Maybe things haven't quite worked out the way he planned. He's down to 5th, but he's definitely got to be looking at some of the folks in front of him, trying to close a couple of positions still.
So that last lap, KW lost about 7 tenths to Turbo. Now Zilla is just about a second behind, so Zilla might be putting KW under a little bit of pressure. KW's tires as a whole, they seem to be in better condition. Zilla's front medium is looking a bit worse compared to KW, but KW's rear tires are looking a bit worse than Zilla, so kind of different tire wear patterns for P2 and P3.
And as you see, K-Dub and Zilla are now in a little bit of a battle for P2 and 3. Zilla is trying to make an inside move.
Yeah, KW didn't seem to
Gets
fight
it
that
done.
much.
No, he did not.
But now I guess it's Zilla's turn to see if he can catch up to Turbo. We get a replay here after the double right-hander.
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah, that
K-Dub
was-
just stayed a little wide. I don't know if that
Yeah,
was
I don't know.
intentional or what.
Maybe he just didn't think that was his fight.
And that's sometimes not a bad choice to make. They are coming down to the last couple laps here. About to cross the start finish on their 19th, starting lap 20 of 23. And Zilla's
Turbo's tires looks pretty much just as good as everyone else's.
that's ridiculous. Zilla seems to be putting a little bit of a gap in between him and K. There you see Stiggy creeping up on K-Dubs. Within about a half second, just over that. I'll be interested to see if Stiggy tries to go make a move, if K-Dubs lets him by, or if he's going to fight for that, or how he's going to play in these last 3-4 laps.
Yeah, he just suddenly lost a lot of pace. His last lap was a 44.5. That's 2 seconds slower than what he's been doing. I mean, his fuel looks okay. He's got more fuel than both P2 and P4. So, I mean, I was getting a little squirrely. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened. He just suddenly lost pace.
You know, sometimes when you're in some of these longer races, you get past the 20 lap mark. Sometimes drivers can just get worn out. So maybe that's what's going on. Maybe his eyes are getting a little silver. It's hard to say, but something is definitely going on with K-Dub, because Stiggy is now just under a second and trying to get himself in a position to sneak on by and steal that third position.
He's definitely going to be under threat with how close he is. Gap's
Yeah,
closing
he's right
to less
there.
than 2 seconds, or 0.2 of a second.
And we have 3 laps left. And there he goes. Stiggy makes the move on the inside as they come into the first turn. K-Dub kind of let that happen too, really, right?
Yeah, he was a little early on the brakes there. So, yeah, KW really not trying to fight too much. Again, I'm not sure what he's really thinking, but, I mean, I don't know. There's still 3 laps left. Anything can happen.
Well, P4 is significantly more points than a 7, 8, 9, or 10, so maybe he's just trying to keep himself in the mix and not make any big mistakes. It sounds like my personal mentality, and, sometimes it's okay to let somebody by. You don't have to battle everybody, but,
Speaking of battles, there is a really close battle for P6 and P7. McGoogle Fingers is all over the back of Nasty, so they might be getting into a tussle pretty soon.
Yeah, that's Mustang battle. That's gonna be pretty. Oh, look at Nasty
nearly
sliding.
spinning.
Yeah, it was a really good save there. He definitely got himself a little bit loose sideways. Just those tires locked up on him, but he was able to correct very quickly, get him rolling again. Let's see if we can take another look here. Watch as Nasty comes around the corner. Yeah, he was heavy on the brakes, onto the gas. It looked like it was in the transition from brake to gas that it got loose.
I mean, Bugle Fingers gets a really good exit out of the final corner. It's going to have a really good shot at overtaking going into T1. Nasty doesn't go defensive. He's going to give Bugle Fingers the inside.
Starting our penultimate lap. Look at that. Bugle Fingers took advantage of that inside.
Brakes.
Nope. Yep. That's going to be a pen. Oh, bummer.
So unfortunately went wide going into turn 1 after braking late. Does avoid the penalty, it looks like, so that's fortunate.
Yeah, how do you avoid the penalty? That looked like that was about to be a problem. Yeah. Sometimes if you stay off that throttle, maybe it's not going to get you. But he got pretty lucky there. I thought that was... And correct me if I'm wrong. Has Turbo pit yet?
Turbo has not pit yet. He is
here he goes.
coming into the pits now.
And he's got 38-second lead on Zilla. Now, look at those mediums. We saw people tear up their mediums. Man, that just impressive tire management there by Turbo. Jumping on board.
Quite make the fuel tank last the full race, but yeah, like as you said, insane tire management.
And here's our battle. We've got an absolute battle for 2-3, and these guys are trying to rack up as many points as they can for the manufacturers. Turbo is now making his exit from the pits on his final lap.
I just want to point this out really quickly. It's just Carl has pit in for fresh softs. Looks like he's going to go for fastest lap.
Okay. So he got an
Turbo
extra...
will come out with a significant gap to P2. So, yeah, we're going to keep a look on this battle for P2 and P3 for the rest of this lap.
2, 3, 4 right there. And as you kind of watch ahead of these guys, you might get to see Turbo just a little bit in frame, but he is way up there. There you go. You can see him just making that right-hand turn on the double right. There's Zilla, Stiggy, and K-Dubs all positioning themselves to... Whoa! Stiggy goes wide. K-Dub's
going to sneak on the inside.
Yeah, they're going to go too wide.
Going to hang it around the outside for the next corner.
And that puts him in a great position for this next right hand. Stiggy is now tucked back. K-Dub looked like he might have got a little bit of contact with Zilla.
Oh, Stiggy got a great exit out of the hairpin.
Yeah, he did.
Takes P3 back.
What a great move. Oh, a little bit of netco from Zilla. It looked like he was bounced around. Stiggy maybe a little bit wide right. Turbo has, I believe, locked it up. There's K-Dub. Stiggy.
Turbo across the line to take the win. It's going to be a drag race between KW and Stiggy for P3, but it's going to be KW that will take the final podium position ahead of Stiggy.
Zilla with the 2. Yeah, Fernando B coming around for his fifth position. Nice job, Fernando.
Oh, we got a drag race for P6. Nasty and
Yeah,
McBugle Fingers. Oh my god, it's so close. It's so close. It was nasty.
Wow.
Wait, no, I don't even know.
I don't either. I saw dashes. That was very close.
So on my screen, it says Nasty got P6, but the gap says that McBugle Fingers got it. I don't know.
And back to the point you made, It's Just Carl is purple. Yeah, by a pretty significant amount there. He may be able to put in this fastest lap, switching to the soft compounds.
Fresh softs, yeah.
Yeah.
This will be a qualifying S lap here. At 40.4.
Can he do it? Yes, he can. Wow. Smart move by It's Just Carl, knowing he might not be able to get too many positions. Hey, you know what? Let's get that extra point for fastest lap. So that's what he did. Congratulations to our winner, PHG Turbo. Well done, my man. It was a masterclass in tire and fuel management. We have not seen the likes of that this weekend. So, PHG Turbo coming in first, taking some points for Team Porsche. with a 39.48. Very, very respectable time there. Zilla coming in P2 for Team Lexus. About 5 seconds off the lead there. PHG KW47 for Team Dodge. And that was obviously pretty close. He was right about 6 seconds from the lead. PHG Stiggy in the 4C, 6 seconds back from the leader. Fernando Buttons, Team Chevy, and 14 seconds off the lead. Nasty, and then McBugleFingers. And look at those 2 times right there. It looks like a tie.
I've never seen a tie in a race before. That is incredible.
How do they even determine who's where? That is amazing. 707 for both. 22.707. That is incredible. So Team Mustang was going to get those points either way. Team Ford, I should say. Then we have Geezer Gears in the Ferrari, taking P8 at just 26 seconds back. It's just Carl with your fastest lap of the race in the Genesis. Well done, Carl. That was very well done. Obviously, he had an extra pit stop, so that was pretty exciting. A lot of strategies, a lot of different strategies we saw play out in that race. Tism, do you agree?
Yeah. I after watching the Split 2 race, I would not have expected someone to take those mediums as long as they did. Like I don't, like I said before, I don't understand where that tire whisper comes from. Like, but yeah, like some strategies didn't work out. Like for Fernando, that strategy didn't quite work out for him. But yeah, that race was definitely one of intellect more than just straight up battling on track.
And that was a Shaggy-esque strategy, if you will, right? I don't know that I've seen tires like that since before they made the changes to the way that you tires stoppers in so many races. Driver of the race, who do you pick on that one?
I have to give it to Turbo. Again, that tire management is it's in a class that I've never seen before. He, like I said, his tires at the end of 22 laps were better than those who only ran half the length of that stint.
Yeah, I don't know that I could even argue with that for a second. I don't think there is another choice on that. That he he showed us things that we did not know were necessarily possible. I mean, even as I was doing some research before the races, I didn't see anything that would have suggested that you could go anywhere near that long. And Turbo showed us that. Well, guess what, guys? You can. So, well done to our winner of that race, Turbo. Way to represent your team Porsche and bring home those points. So that was an exciting race. And ladies and gentlemen, we have one more today. So get yourself a fresh beverage. Go get yourself a quick break. We are going to take ourselves just a quick breather, let the drivers get situated in their cars, and we will get started with our final race here in just a few moments.
Engines roaring life in the fast lane. PHG, we the name, tearing up the game. Thunder on the track, speed never go lack. Pushing limits, breaking barriers. It's a traveler's dream. Might stumble, fall, but we rise again. For the banner of PHG flies our friend. Great racers, yeah, better people. Rising like a phoenix, ain't no sequel. PHG, baby, we roll the steeple. Great racers, better people. Better people. Oh, baby. Better people. Engines roaring life in the fast lane. PHG, we've been named, tearing up the game. Thunder on the track, speed never go lack. Pushing limits, breaking barriers, and looking back. Tires screaming as we take that turn. Fuel and fire in our hearts we burn. Opponents in the mirror, they can't keep up. Keep the throttle down, never wanna let up. Great racers, yeah, better people. Rising like a phoenix, ain't no sequel. PHG, baby, we roll the steeple. Great racers, better people. Team strong, bonds like no other.
And welcome back, everybody. We are preparing for our final race of the PHG World Series week 2 here at Interlagos. We've got another group of very fast drivers who have been putting in their practice laps. They have qualified for their stints, and we're going to see these guys do a quick qualifying, 10-minute qualifier, and then they're going to get to the race once they've determined their starting positions. Tism, what do you think? Anything you want to predict for this next race? Before we haven't even looked at the field, so I'm putting you on the spot.
Look, I mean, that I still can't get over that 100% tie for P6. I'm still trying to process that. I'm going to predict that there will be a first place, a second place, and a third place.
Well played. Well played. Can't argue with that. That's solid. So yeah, I think we've got some more exciting racing to happen. I would tell you one prediction I'll make is that we're probably going to see a strat we haven't seen yet, if I had to bet. We've seen a couple different things throughout today's races, so these guys are going to have to do some work to surprise us on their strats. But I would speculate that it's going to happen. So going through the round information again, we're at Interlagos. This is round 2 for the PHG World Series. They're going to do 23 laps, 2 times hard, 2 times tire wear, racing hard, and medium are required. 4 times fuel burn. You've seen some people manage, other people's just burning out. The fuel refill can cause a little bit of challenge in some situations. And our drivers are in the GR4 cars in their manufacturers of choice. So I believe the drivers are. Let's look at who we have on the grid. Doesn't mind taking us through the grid for this race?
All right, so for our final race of the day, we are going to be with BHR Johnny Boy in the Lexus, AGRT Chase in the AMG, PHG Speedburner in the Porsche, Craig in the Porsche as well, PHG Squeezy in the Ferrari, Real Shanman 92 in the Toyota, Metal in the Nissan, and finally, last but not least, T. Calvert driving for BMW.
Yes, we've got a good mix of manufacturers there. I don't think we've seen an AMG on the field today, so that'll be the first one we're getting to see at Interlagos. This is shaping up to be a very good race for us here. A lot of some new faces for me, some drivers that I might not be terribly familiar with, but I'll tell you what, I am glad I'm in the booth and not having to compete with these guys. After some of the different things we've seen these guys do today, but we've seen a little bit of everything. So I am excited to see what these guys are going to put out there. Tism, any favorites on the list there? Anybody you're familiar with, or you would predict as a winner?
Yeah, unfortunately, not super familiar with the list of drivers here. Since I went with BMW as my choice for this race, I am going to be rooting for T. Calvert to win this race.
Okay, very good choice. I'm going to. Boy, I don't know. That's a tough decision for me to make. I think I'm gonna back Team AMG on this one. Let's see if that's going to play out for me or not. And I think our drivers they are just pulling out onto track to start qualifying. So let's jump on board and see what we get.
So it looks like we have a few extra drivers. We have PHG, Horn of Plenty. Let me see. Wicked, CBR, and I think Big Joe are additional entrants in this final split.
And we're riding on board with. Who are we on board with? Hold on. Oh, Real Shanman 92. Excuse me. My eyes were killing me for a second there. All right. Oh, no. Gotta love a little purple livery running the 92 car. I guess with his namesake, maybe that's what he runs.
Yeah, I'm always a fan of any livery with purple. All of my liveries have purple stripes on them, so definitely giving 2 thumbs up for that.
Oh, Tism, I couldn't disagree or couldn't agree with you more. I am a big fan of the purple liveries. I do a lot of Crown Royal liveries, so that's why there. Here's a speed burner. That's a good looking livery. Big Joe, take a look at that. That looks like some nice artistic work by Big Joe as well. Here's T. Calvert. He's got that shiny BMW, chromage.
Nice little scorpion on the sides.
Metal in the Kit Kat livery. I kind of half expected him to be driving something chrome or metal. There's Mr. Chase in the AMG. Let's see if he can make me look like Nostradamus today. Oh, we've got Horn of Plenty who has jumped in this lobby. I have watched him pass me many a times in races. He will do a lot of from the backs in the dailies. There you go, is Wicked in that Genesis. The DHL, he's making deliveries today. And Johnny Boy with our second Dr. Pepper livery of the day. He's on the Lexus, gotta love it. And Craig in a classic little clean livery on that.
Yeah, that's the livery for the GT3 RSR Porsche.
Yep, that is a good looking one.
It looks like it fits on that car, but at the same time, whenever I see another car's livery on the wrong car, it always throws me up because I always think it's the wrong car.
Right? That's what I was just thinking. Like, wait a second. And we jump on board with, is it Papa Oso?
Looks like he'll be the first driver to set a competitive lap. Let's see, we got taking a final little kink. Looks like he's setting him up for a second lap. 39.7 for his first lap out. solid lap to start.
That's a strong
start the
first,
session.
yeah. Agreed. And we move over to Speedburner as we watch him come down the straight. Looks like Speedburner put himself in P2 for now. And we're going to ride along board with Big Joe. In the meantime, Chase and Metal have put themselves up into the top 5. And we watch them come down the... Oh, we moved over to Horn, who has put himself in the top
for
5.
his first lap.
Whew. Horn's fast, man. I tell you what, I've seen him race plenty of times, and normally I'm watching him drive right by me. Wicked in the DHL Genesis. In P2.
Manages to get up to P2 with 40.5. Yeah, so looks like we're going to have a similar session as last time with one driver kind of head and shoulders above the field and everyone else trying to claw away at that pole position time.
Yeah, because to your point, Papazo has got, I don't know, what, 0.6 of a second up above Wicked, but, you know, I'll tell you, there's some folks in this lobby that I could see will probably give him some competition before this qualifying is over and the race has concluded. So, as we see, Papazo went into the pits there to get himself some new tires. We jump on board with Speedburner, repping for Team Porsche. And he puts up a 140.923, which is going to move him into P3 for now. And there is Big Joe, who just came across the line with a 143.4.
A couple people crossing the line, setting better times, but it didn't look like they improved their positions at all.
And it looks like Papazo is still sitting in the pits. It looks like Metal's in the pits.
Oh, somebody said that Papa is out of the pits.
Oh,
Papa
there he goes.
also,
Okay.
sorry.
Yep. And Metal actually looks like he went back to the pits. He's got 100% fuel, so I think he exited track and went straight to pits. And I believe he was coming back out. Yeah, and look at the gap there now between Papazo and Wicked. You know,
half a tenth.
What, 5/100ths? Yeah. As we watch Wicked come around the corners here.
Yeah, a few tenths down from his PB, so I suspect he might be coming in for some fresh softs to finish the session.
And shifting the camera over here, looks like we're on board with Speedburner. Is that a Hooters livery? Is that what I saw? Hooters.
Alrighty,
So
then.
let's see what Speedburner's got.
He's pulling into the pits.
Oh, he's going into the pits. Okay.
Yeah, that would have been the last
rubber.
lap he could have pit.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have had to stay out for the rest of the session.
Right. Yeah, 10-minute qualifying. We're just past the 7-minute mark, so these guys have a few more minutes to get their outlap done and maybe get one, or if they're lucky, two, but I doubt it. Probably just an outlap, one more. As we take a peek at Horn of Plenty coming across the line with a 145.99.
Moves up into P4, about 6-7 tenths behind Speedburner in P3.
You know, I haven't seen a whole lot of movement on the grid in the last couple laps. Papazo still up at the front. Speedburner, or Wicked in P2. He is in the pits. Looks like Speedburner just came out. Wicked might be in the pits, sitting still. I'm not sure. It doesn't look like his fuel's coming up, but as we jump on board with Papazo for a moment here. I hope I'm saying that right. Papazo? Papa Oso? Oso. I can read.
Yeah, it looks like Papa Oso.
And Papa Oso is pushing that Lamborghini.
Right, so
Looks
Wicked
like-
is finally out of the pits, but I don't know if he's going to be able to make it to the line to start another lap.
Where's he at? 8:44 on the timer, 45. Well, we'll see how that plays out for him, but that's going to be close.
And Papa also just went purple in sector 2 by a mere thousandth of a second.
Whew.
Might have a
trying to beat-
little bit of a toe from the AMG ahead. Let's see what he does across the line. He'll have one more lap after this.
Trying to beat that 39.7 by just a bit, and he does. 39.70. Very good lap by him. That should lock up P1 for him, but we will see if anybody else can put something up lower before they are done with quali. And we ride on board with Wicked for a moment here as he comes around that last turn, going uphill.
Okay, so he will make it to the finish line to start one last lap.
Boy, by the hair on his chinny chin, right?
Yeah, just a few seconds to
48.
spare.
Woo!
And 10 seconds left as of right now. Yeah, just barely makes it. Maybe he
Yeah.
timed his pit stop perfectly.
He might have, and he's going to have kind of a wide open track to do his last lap there.
I wonder Plenty's stuck on track, not sure.
Yeah, is he? I was kind of trying to figure out what happened there.
Maybe he's just getting out of the way to finish the session. Didn't want to get in anybody else's way. Oh, Johnny Boy is finished, so he's currently 4th, just under 2 seconds behind pole. We have, looks like 6 drivers remaining to finish their final lap. Papa also will be the first person to cross the line. Actually, no, there's a driver ahead of him.
And there's
Let's see,
Papa Oso
Papa
coming
Oso
around
on
that
his
last
final
turn.
Improves by
And does even
1/10.
better. Wow, that's impressive.
39.538. You know, that time like that would have been competitor in some of the earlier splits.
I was just thinking this split is really shaping up to be just as good as the two previous we've seen. There's a lot of talent in this line. So there we move over to Wicked, who was coming around the final turns there, coming up that hill on the last straight. Let's see if he can get himself into P1, 31, 2. Watch that time there on the screen. See if he can put up a 39.5 anything. No, it's a 39.9. So he's going to stay in second place. There's Calvert coming in with a 144.
Does improve, but didn't look like he improved his. No, he didn't improve his position, so he'll stay P10 to start.
And do we have anybody on track, or does that close out qualifying? I believe that'll close it out for. So our grid is set for our final race this week. Split 5. Taking you through the grid real quick here, we have Papa Oso in the Hurricane with a 139.538. Very good lap. Wicked CBR in the Genesis with a 139.770. PHG Speedburner in the Porsche Cayman, 140.865. Johnny Boy in the Lexus with a 141.579. Horn of Plenty in the Porsche. He's at 141.598. AGRT Chase in the AMG with 2.287. Big Joe in the 4C. We have Craig in the Porsche. So that's 3 Porsches in this race. Craig has a 142. Then we have Metal in the GTR, 143.2. T. Calvert in the Beamer, 144.2. And Real Sean, I don't know why I have so much trouble. Real Sean Man in the Supra, 148.582. So that is our grid for our final race here in round 2 of the PHG World Series. Whew. Tozum, what do you think, man? We got some skill out there on track, don't we?
Yeah, it's this final split is a bit more spread out than what we've seen, but I still anticipate a lot of on-track action. I'm still going to be rooting for T. Calvert. I'm expecting all of the chaos, and he's just going to run away with the win after everyone else takes each other out.
Yeah, after watching that qualifying, Papa Oso looks like he's got very good pace. Again, we got to run the race. You just don't know what's going to happen. So we'll have to see if he can keep it together for all 23 laps, and maybe he can run a, beginning to end victory with the lead. But it's not as likely as it has been in the past. We shall see. I believe the drivers are set on their grid positions, and we're going to be looking to start this race here in just a minute. Tell us in chat, who is your favorite driver for our fifth split today? Or who's your favorite manufacturer?
If I had to pick my favorite manufacturer, it would be Dodge, but I mean, the Group 3 Viper, it's okay on high-speed tracks. I don't think that Group 4 Viper is very competitive, although KW in the last race, he showed that it wasn't too bad, so maybe I'm just slow in it.
I know I'm definitely slow in it, and we jump on track. The wheels are rolling for these guys. We start here. Papa Oso is going to lead it off with Wicked right behind.
And he started on hards.
He did start on hards. And they are off. So, Split 5 is live. We've got these guys coming into the first turn. Hopefully we have no major issues. Look like everybody's keeping it pretty clean. I don't see any smoke. That's a good thing.
Yeah, it looks like everybody exits the first few corners cleanly. But also maintaining a very narrow lead over Wicked, going into T4.
Yeah, Papa Oso is just going to probably try to keep looking forward. If I'm in his spot, I'm certainly not looking at my rear view. Everybody's back there. So just look forward and put your fast laps down. And he has got Wicked right behind him. So 2/10 behind.
Yeah, I suspect Wicked may be on the mediums with how closely he's sticking behind Papa Oso.
And Papa Oso runs a little wide.
Gonna try for a switchback in the hairpin. Now he's gonna tuck behind that Lamborghini. He's gonna wait for the front straight to make his move.
And we see 1, 2, 3 seem to pull away a little bit from 4, 5, 6, 7. You see that gap right there as they're going up the hill for the final turn into the last straight.
Speedburner slipping just a bit behind, but still in that slipstream range. Papa also goes defensive. Wicked's going to try around the outside going into T1. Going to try to break later with the superior grip of those mediums. And going to have the inside going to turn 2, but Papa also sticks it around the outside and will maintain P1.
That was a well done first section there by Oso.
Allowed Speedburner to get right back to the rear bumper of Wicked. And the top 3 will stay as they are as they approach the infield section.
In terms of, do we know what tires Speedburner's on?
I did not catch that.
Oh, there we go. We go on board with Speedburner. He is on the mediums.
It looks like Papa Oso is going to do everything in his power to keep those 2 behind him, make them struggle on those mediums, maybe cause them to overheat a bit, wear them out a bit more. I know these 2 are desperate to get past Papa Oso.
Yeah, you got to think they are. I mean, and obviously when you're driving, you don't know what tires everybody else is on. You're just hoping you've got an advantage in one way, shape, or form, and they're going to push him. They are going to try and make it happen. So we jump on board with Big Joe, who's got himself a look at Chase right in front.
I think Chase went wide in that second to last corner. Ooh, he picks himself up a 1 second penalty. He'll serve that on the next lap.
Really good eye toes him. Yep, he's got a 1 second. Let's take another look at it there. And it was prior to that. We just missed it, but we saw him getting that second. There's Big Joe.
He loses P6 to Big Joe. AGRT chase.
And we got a little contact. No. Big Joe spins out. We might need to see a replay of that if possible. It looked like there was just a touch of contact, and I don't know that it necessarily caused Big Joe to spin, but maybe an overcorrection. There we go. So they're going into the corner. Big Joe takes the position. There you see, he just ran a little wide, came back, contact with metal, and maybe overcorrected and just spun himself out. That is unfortunate for Big Joe.
Yeah, it's going to hurt him a bit. I mean, he's on the hard, so, anything can happen for the rest of the race. Let's see if he can make a recovery drive, gain some of those positions back.
Back to the front of the pack, we've got 1, 2, 3 here with Papa Oso, Wicked, and Speedburner. And they are pretty much just a little pack of cars there.
Speedburner tailing just a bit. Still just barely within slipstream range. Hopefully he can maintain a good exit out of turns. The final quarter, which I think he does.
Papa Oso has a penalty.
That's a 1 second penalty.
Didn't quite catch where he acquired that, but that is going to be a problem. It looks like he is going to go ahead and go wide. Oh, here we go. So as he comes around the turn here, did he go too far inside on that? I guess he did.
Yeah, I think I thought that would have been clean within track limits, but I guess the game says otherwise.
I was going to say it didn't look like it was much if it was over the track limits, but we all know how the penalty system can be sometimes. So Wicked CBR has now stepped up into the first position. Papa Oso in second, with Speedburner closely behind. And obviously, we know Papa Oso is going to have to serve that 1 second on this lap, so that'll likely surrender P2 to Speedburner. Then again, based on qualifying, he's got the pace to get that position back. So we're moving down the pack just a little bit into P5 with as he is creeping up on Johnny Boy.
Horn of Plenty's on the soft tire.
Horn started soft, huh? Okay. So similar strategy to what we saw it's just Carl doing.
Fortunately, it didn't work out that much for Carl, so we'll see if Horn of Plenty can do something different to make those softs works.
And he is really pushing on Johnny Boy. It looks like he's going to probably be able to make a pass here within this lap, but we'll see if Johnny Boy can get wide enough to keep him behind him. There goes Horn over to the inside. Nope, it wasn't there.
I think that compromise has exited in that final corner too.
I think you're right.
He's dropping back at least half a second behind.
We switch over to P6 with Metal. And you'll see he's got Craig right behind him. I mean, right behind him. Craig is sniffing exhaust fumes right now. Looking to take that inside line. Nope, he jumped back behind him.
Slip.
Yeah. I can't say I blame him there. Like I said earlier, at the beginning of the race, man, I don't want to necessarily fight for positions because that's when I make a lot of mistakes. I'm going to keep my spot and try and catch up with the rest of the pack. Kit Kat, is that a Sugar Shuffles livery, I wonder?
No clue.
I don't think it is. Yeah, I didn't see anything there, so, okay. It did kind of look, well, personally, I think RJ's livery. So that one looked a little plain to me. Moving over to Speedburner in P2.
He really closed up the gap on Wicked.
He did.
He was about 2 seconds back, and now, maybe around 1 or 2 seconds. Now he's within slipstream
about a half
range.
second, yeah. And that 1 second penalty really put a hurt on Papa Oso. So he's going to have a little bit of ground to keep himself in competition for 1 or 2. As we see Speedburner and Wicked CBR going to the straight. About to cross the start-finish, starting lap number 6.
Yeah, so Papos is going to want to keep an eye on the gap to P2. He's going to have to manage the hards and just try his best to try to keep pace with him, because he did well to keep him behind up until he got that 1 second penalty.
Yeah, that 1 second penalty is really tough, especially when you're trying to hold and/or fight for the lead. That can sometimes wear on your confidence to the race, but we all know from qualifying Papaoso has pace to continue fighting. So Johnny Boy in P4, driving the Dr. Pepper Lexus, and he's got Horn right behind him. As we know, Horn is on those soft compounds.
This has got to be torture for him.
I'm surprised he has not gotten by.
On the softs, chasing somebody on hards. I don't know if he's aware that he's on hards, but either way, it's just absolutely destroying those tires. This isn't helping his race at all.
No, I mean, he's 6 laps in, and you can see the tire wear on Horn's. It's not terrible, but it's also not great. That Lexus can get moving, man, you know.
We'll see what the Porsche can
a lot
do.
Of line power.
Gonna have a good slip coming out of this final corner. I don't know much about the Group 4 Cayman. I was gonna say it was gonna have enough power to overtake on the straight, but he's pulling into the pits to get off of those soft tires. I'm a little surprised at that, because the soft tires look like they're still in pretty good condition.
You know, you took the words right out of my mouth. If I'm on compound, I'm gonna run them you know, granted, you know you've got an extra pit stop because you're using you still have 2 compounds you got to meet, but I'm going to run them a lot longer than that. I'm trying to do a quick, 1 or 2 lap stint on the hard, but let's see how that plays out. So we are on board with Big Joe. He's in 7th position. He's got Craig not too far behind, just over a second back, and that delta is shrinking quickly on Big Joe. So Craig is going to try and make a move, I would imagine. Couple turns, he's going wide. See if he can get himself positioned there, door to door. He's just got speed on Big Joe, and I think he's got that done. Yep, there you go. Craig sneaking into P7. Big Joe tucks in behind. He's going to follow, get a penalty.
Oh, goes wide, and he spins.
Oh no, that couldn't have gone any worse. Unfortunately, that's a tough break for Big Joe. Did everything he could to be a good driver, let the other guy by if he didn't pace, and just got wide on that. Boy, your tires get nasty getting stuff. That's AstroTurf out there, isn't it, Tism?
Yeah, and in Gran Turismo, it's extremely bumpy, extremely slippery.
Yep.
Yeah, this race is just not going for Big Joe at all.
And he has tucked back in behind Horn of Plenty. And I don't know, do we know which tire compound Horn went to? Is that the medium or just the hards? Looks like he has taken the hards. Okay, so Horn's on the hard.
We'll see how long he sticks with that tire. I'd imagine he'd try to do as few laps as possible on that tire.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at his fuel, he's 3/4 of the tank probably. So, I mean, I wonder if he's going to try and push that fuel saving. Papaoso has gone into the pits to come off that hard compound. We move over to Wicked, who is kind of by himself all of a sudden. He's got just over a 3.5 second gap between him and Speedburner in 2nd place. Wicked is on the mediums.
Definitely comfortably in the lead now. Looks like he's found his rhythm. 4-second gap is going to be advantageous to him, because he can pretty much cover off any potential undercut from Speedburner if he needs to.
Yeah, and to that point, you bring up a great point, Rosamund. If you're in the mid or backpack, at this point, are you thinking about an undercut? You got to do something, right?
Yeah, if I'm having difficulty passing another car, yeah, I would consider the undercut, but I would also consider how long I'd have to drive on for example, if I'm going from mediums to hards, I wouldn't want to spend too much time on the hards. So I don't know. It's a toss up. I don't know. I'm kind of glad that I'm not in these drivers' positions right now.
Yeah, 100%. And I think we're trying to get Papa back in the booth. I think he might have just peeked his head in and stepped back out into the crowd. So let's see if we can get Papa back
here.
Oh, Papa, there you are. Hey, welcome back.
Hey, thanks, guys.
Thanks for
How about
joining
these
us.
races, man.
Wow. You know, I mean, to think that you're going to have 5 split and all 5 be as competitive as we've seen today and yesterday it's mind-boggling. I mean, you know, just the amount of talent between all 5 of these splits is exceptional.
Right. You can thank Shaggy for his qualifying format that he's put together for us there.
Yeah, absolutely. You know,
beautifully.
I gotta tell you personally, it's such an exciting format. You know, you've got the manufacturer. There's so many different things at play, right? I mean, not only is it, people can, random people are going to jump into different where they might like the track better than others. You've got the manufacturer's thing at play. There's just so many different things in motion with this series. It's absolutely exciting.
Yeah. You aren't joking. But even behind the scenes, there's so much more going on. Now we've got, you know, great commentators like you and Tuzum here that are just killing it today. So, guys, can't thank everybody enough.
Yeah, it takes a village, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, there's got to be like 20 people that you hear, you see, that have put this together, that are, you know, keeping all the data in the background, and it's amazing. It's amazing how it's all come together.
It is. You know, the PHG has an absolutely exceptional community. This is really a great way to showcase some of that. So kudos to you and everybody that put so much hard work into bringing this season to life and in the second season for it. So it is awesome. As we watch here on track, we've got Big Joe, who is trying to maybe consider making a move on Horn of Plenty. Papa, I gotta ask, are there any specific car track combos that you're really looking forward for the remainder of the season there?
Honestly, once we get past, for me personally, once we get past next week at Willow Springs, I don't care what it is. They're all better than these, for me, than these first 3 races have been. Nerve is my least favorite, Interlagos is my second least favorite, and Big Willow is my 3rd least favorite.
No.
Oh,
okay.
You just broke my heart.
When this whole thing started, I concentrated on these first 3 races and just getting by them. Then I'll worry about the rest later.
Well, I know you said you're just getting by, but I think third position is pretty solid for just getting by today.
I couldn't believe that, Gio.
Wonderful finish.
Yeah. Things just kind of fell in my lap there because I was running like 7th, 8th. That's where I thought I was going to finish all day. It was guaranteed that's where I was going to finish, mid-pack. Then a couple pins, spin. It worked out. I'm not complaining.
I mean, that goes to show that sometimes, you know, you can just have a good race by just not messing up. Like, you just finish your race, no spins, and, you know, podiums will come to you.
Yep.
Yeah, but Papa, like I always say, give yourself a chance, right?
That's right. That's right.
As we ride along board with Johnny Boy here for a second, he is in P3, and you can see here the field's starting to spread out a little bit. Wicked's got quite a bit of room. Speed Burner in second. Johnny Boy back there. Johnny Boy is 10 seconds away from second place and 23 seconds away from lead. So as you can see on the course map there to the right, our field has spread out just a bit for our 5th split today. Papa, you know, as you mentioned, there's so many people that are involved, and, you know, I know you mentioned Shaggy. I think, you know, I know Salamander's doing a whole lot. You know, anybody else you want to call out at the point for some thanks?
Oh my Lord. Where do I start? Yeah, Shaggy for putting all this together. He's also the vice president of PHG Racing Team itself, our minister of speed, as we lovingly call him.
That's right.
Salamander, he kind of joined the production team and has just run with it. He also does a great job with the actual website, the PapasHouseOfGame.com website. And he's got some help there now from PHG Oak. He's going to be helping us out there on the website. You've got Toon, who's our actual production manager. All the commentators, PK, Salamander,
Right.
Slow-Mo, yourself, Tuzum, Leo, and I mean the list just goes on and on. We got some new commentators that'll be joining us here in the next, couple of weeks. I mean, then on the backside, I'm trying to make this short, but on the backside, you have Titanium Ashes, who's maintaining all the spreadsheets and everything for all the points and the manufacturers and getting all that stuff out. And mind you, all these people have full-time jobs too. It's incredible the amount of work and the dedication these guys have put, and gals have put towards PHG itself. Without them, there wouldn't be a PHG, I promise you.
Yeah, no question. I mean, it's an exceptional league. It's very well organized. You guys have all the information available. It's so exciting. I mean, you got, multiple days of qualifying, multiple days of racing, multiple splits. Everything's competitive. You've got so much talent out here. And that's not even talking about the behind the scenes folks. I got to tell you, one of my favorite things, for example, today working with Dozenbox, his debut really in the booth. And Tuzum, I got to say, you're killing it today. It's been an honor working with you guys. It's always awesome to be in the booth.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I want to thank PhD for giving me the opportunity to debut here. I've been kind of juggling the idea of doing comms for a while, and it was Salamander. Well, actually, initially Toon reached out, and then Salamander did a second reach out and said, "Yeah, let's get you in for this week." And yeah, here we are now.
You are
having a blast,
and you're doing great, man. You're doing awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a feeling we're going to hear more from you in the booth.
Oh yeah,
go by for the season. So yeah, that's awesome. And we're jumping aboard here with Wicked. You can see that Delta has closed down just a little bit. It looks like Speedburner is trying to catch up to him. Wicked is catching up to a little bit of lap traffic there, making himself move by there. And we are on lap 13, so they got just about 10 laps to go here to close out our fifth split of the day. Or fifth split of the weekend, I should say.
His fuel's getting a little low, so I suspect that he'll be pitting within the next couple of laps. See how much further he can stretch that fuel tank, just so he can maximize his stint on the mediums.
Moving over to Speedburner. I don't know why I was Speedrunner. Speedburner in P2. Yeah, look at that. He's at a quarter of a tank. He's on the mediums. It looks like he's got plenty of tire tread right now. Right. Papa, what'd you think of that? You ever seen mediums go that far?
Absolutely not. I thought the McLaren was good on tires, and I think I ran 16 laps on my mediums. He went 22.
Yeah, it's absurd. Like I said earlier, we haven't seen anything like that since, some of those stints Shaggy ran in the NRL.
Right?
Just incredible. And that was on a totally different, they've changed the, the dynamics of tire wear since then. Since they changed the dynamics of tire wear, you don't see people stretching them out like that.
No. Oh, in turbos, he still had tread left.
Yes.
Probably if his, I don't know. I don't know how he did it. Shaggy, when he would do it, his tires were completely dead, all four of them, and he'd still be out there running.
Right.
Definitely can't do that anymore. But yeah, that was impressive.
Yeah, we're lucky they don't blow out on us now,
Right? I think that would be an awesome addition, though.
There was a patch where they did introduce some form of flat tires. It wasn't like a full-on puncture, but If you ran a tire all the way down, you ran the risk of like you would just feel like a massive loss of grip. And
Really?
I think they like took it out a patch later.
PD
like
can
that.
be sinister at times, so you never know. Maybe they'll
I think it'd
like
be
that back.
awesome. Great too if at some point you'd have an engine failure.
Oh, we don't know. See, I have actually had an engine failure in a race. Like, it's possible, extremely rare, but you can just get random engine damage in a race, and that actually happened to me in the lobby. Luckily, it wasn't a daily
Really?
race, but like, yeah, my engine you know how like if you have damage on, if you hit a wall hard enough, you get engine damage, and you have that lower engine output.
Right.
That can randomly happen for absolutely no reason.
And while we've been talking,
That's
we've
awesome.
got a new leader. Speedburner has stepped up into P1. Looks like Wicked's gone in the pit for his tire change. And so now we've got Speedburner in 1, Johnny Boy in 2. Wicked is not yet out of the... Oh, he's out of the pits now. Looks like he's going to be able to come out in P3. So shaping up for an exciting finish to this race as well. No shortage of drama. Yeah, there's Papa Oso sneaking back up there. He's been kind of quiet since we saw him with that 1 second penalty and dropped back a few positions.
Well, he's on the medium tire now, so he's going to have the tire advantage for the rest of the race. So we'll see if Wicked can hold him up. But if Papa Oso can find his way around Wicked and then keep running, he's been in the 140s for the last 6-7 laps. So
Flying, yeah.
Yeah, if he can keep that pace up whenever Speedburner makes his pit stop, he may be able to regain the lead.
And look at the consistency to your point. I mean, low to mid 140s for the last 3 laps. He was just in the higher 140s on the 3 prior, so he is getting his money's worth out of that. And there you go, Papa Oso looking like he's going to try P3 to get by Wicked.
Super close, getting all that slipstream.
This is your race for the win, I think, right here.
But Wicked's also getting a slipstream from Calvert, so that's going to make it more difficult for Papa Oso to get around. Oh, looks like was there contact?
There might have been just a little tap. Oh, Calvert's maybe sneaking close to Papa Oso. He's got a little wiggle.
Yeah, that cost Papa Oso a couple seconds.
Johnny Boy had dipped into the pits while that was going on, so Papa Oso did move up into P3, Wicked into 2. Speedburners remains in first. There's Papa Oso trying to get past lap traffic with Calvert, taking that inside line.
Looks like Calvert's still trying to fight him.
Well, he kind of has to. He's got Real Shanman right behind him for position. It's not like he can just lay over and let him go.
Ooh. Oh, Real Sandman looks like he went real wide. Yes, sir. Unfortunately,
with
on
the commentator's
cue.
curse.
Yeah.
And picks up a second.
Sorry, Shanman. My fault.
Yeah, that Supra can be a little tricky at times. Don't know that we're going to be able to get a replay of that, but perhaps we'll be able to get one here in the future. We'll see what's going on. Papa Oso is now hunting down Wicked to try to get back that P1 roll, and he's got time to do it at his pace. So this is far from over, ladies and gentlemen. You know, Tism, you let's say you're in the Lamborghini right now, and you're looking, you know, just under 3 seconds. You're closing on the guy. And what's going through your mind? What are you trying to do to make sure that you maintain that, you know, that consistent pace that he seems to be putting up?
Well, the first thing I'd be doing is calming myself down. When I drive, especially in like a competitive race like this, my agitation, it'll shoot through the roof, and having to deal with that lap traffic put me on the back foot like that. I'd have to like calm myself down, reassure myself that I'm essentially the fastest car on track. We caught up with them before. We got plenty of time. We got 6.5 laps left. I could most likely close this gap again and take this win. Yeah, it's all about staying cool, calm, and collected, especially after dealing with the time loss that he dealt with.
I think that's a really good point for people to take with them. You can do all the preparation in the world. Sometimes it's hard to prepare for a situation like this where, you've gone through 3/4 of the race. You got yourself a shot to, catch up to the guy in front of you. And sometimes it's easy to get yourself too excited. You got to maintain that heart rate. Keep yourself breathing. Make sure you're getting air into your lungs, and try to stay calm. As we ride along board with Metal in P4, and there's about 12 seconds between him and P3. You don't see anybody behind him, as there's a second gap between him and the next person. As I'm looking at that livery, I think that was a Rory Kit Kat livery. So not a Sugar Shuffle, but a Rory. Or Aries. Arius?
Aries. Here he is.
Aries is.
Arius. Jumping on board with Chase for a moment here is certainly chasing Metal. You can see that gap is shrinking ever so slightly. And he's got Craig a couple seconds back. You see him in frame. Just comes around a turn there coming uphill. I think this race is far from over. There can still be plenty of position changes left to go. And you'll see Horn of Plenty in P7, who is on the mediums.
Actually, I think he was the only driver to stop this race as he started on softs. So running P7 after 2 pit stops, that's not too shabby.
No, I was just going to say that. That's pretty strong for having an extra pit stop. There is T. Calvert, who's in 9th position. Pretty significant gap between him and P8. However, P10 is creeping on him there. Real Sean Man. I got it right. I think I said it right for a change. Real Sean Man's making a move.
I did notice that Calvert was revving out the BMW, and I think I saw him doing that in qualifying as well. I'm really hoping that somebody gets in touch with him to let him know that the BMW, right? You definitely have to short shift that to get the most out of it. Maybe that can save him some seconds over the course of the race.
That's a really good point.
As soon as you see that red mark on that RPM gauge, you need to shift. This thing is super early. You need to notice that.
Unless maybe it's hard to tell because it always says automatic, but maybe he's driving on automatic and he doesn't have a choice.
Yep. Point 2.
So here you go. Papa Oso has now closed the gap to within a second from Wicked. And he has, about 3.5 laps to make this happen. So let's see if he can sneak himself into that P1 roll and then close the race out, or does something else happen?
He is all over the rear gearbox of Wicked. Just has to keep it clean for another few corners and just maximize that exit out of the final corner. He might even threaten in the final corner. Dives down the inside. Takes the inside line.
He's doing it now.
And he does take the lead.
What a pass. That was smooth.
We're going to have all the slipstream coming into turn 1, though. Let's see if the Lamborghini has the legs to keep that Genesis behind.
And again, as we're looking at Papa Oso, and you take a look on the right-hand side of the screen, look at the consistency with his lap time. Just incredible to see. He had a little bit of an off lap on the team, but the rest of them are just right next to each other.
Wicked can't quite make it into turn 1, but he's still putting on the pressure right behind the Lamborghini. He's going to try
Wicked's
around the outside
run
again. On the
Papa
brakes going into turn 4.
Oh, that is great racing. No, switch back.
Yeah.
Nope, can't get it in there.
I think Papa's finally going to take it. Can't imagine Wicked trying to move going into this corner, but you never know. Yeah, it looks like Papa also is clear.
Yeah, and it looks like he's started to pull away just a little bit in that section. I mean, you know, the Genesis is it's a great car to drive, but I think that Lamborghini just has an advantage through some of these turns.
I think he has the tire advantage right now too. So
Yeah, Papa also is on mediums right now.
And that will play a difference here. So, lap 20 of 23 coming up the hill to close this lap out. And we move over to Johnny Boy. We got a yellow flag on the... I think we necessarily saw what happened.
Let's take a look. He's... Who is that in front?
That is
Real
lap traffic. Yep, Real Shannon. And lets him
Nice.
by. Great sportsmanship there by Real Shannon. And, you know, for being in P10, he's had a kind of a tough with that penalty we saw getting wide. Papa Oso going purple in the first section here.
Maybe looking
Trying
to
to
dip into 39s with a pace
Yep.
like that. His fastest lap already is a 40.1. I set that on lap 12.
Yep, trying to improve on that fastest lap, which he currently holds. And now he's got, wow, oh man, that jumped up. It's not quite 2 seconds, but it's certainly well over a second and a half away from Wicked. And it looks like he's stretching those legs a little bit and starting to get some breathing room.
He coming across the line for sector 2. Loses a few tenths.
Yeah, down just a hair. As he's coming up the hill, he's got his gap from him to P2 just about 2 seconds. So that tire, difference in tire compound really is playing a huge impact between the battle for P1 and 2. We don't see a lot of shakeups going on down the grid, so take a look at Johnny Boy here in P3. There's Metal and Chase in P5. Craig is in P6. There's Horn of Plenty in P7. Big Joe in P8. P. Calvert in P9. And Real Sean Mon in P10. And as you look up
It's a shame about Big Joe. He was in 2 incidents, so who knows where he could have been at this point in the race.
right.
Yep,
right.
very true. I would say if you look up at that track map on the upper right-hand corner, you can kind of see where people are. The triangle that's red, that's who we're watching. So that is Papa Oso. You can see the grid's kind of spread out a little bit. Papa just continues to increase his gap on Wicked. On our penultimate
Everyone's
lap
social
here.
distancing right now.
That's right. It always cracks me up. You see videos and everybody's wearing. It's like, oh, we know when that was filmed.
See if lap traffic has any issues for Papa here.
Looked like he almost went a little wide there, but ended up keeping it nice and tight.
Coming around
He's got-
to start the final lap.
Yep, he's got plenty of fuel. His tires look fine. Barring no issues, I would imagine he's going to one out, but we have to wait and see. Papa Oso has really put a good 23 laps down here. Obviously, we saw him, kind of drop back a little bit. He had the 1 second. But other than that, man, he has just been, just ripping out laps, just crushing them off.
Yeah, he did well to keep his cool during those issues, and just overall, just a really, really solid race. No major issues, but I mean, to be fair, a lot of these drivers we haven't had any major issues. We haven't seen any major issues from. Just He's just a step ahead of the rest.
Yeah, very true. And he has been purple through that first section for the last 3 or 4 laps, so he's really got a good handle on the first, second section of the track, I think. As you get a view here from Wicked, and you barely even see Papa, so in Wicked's screen when you're riding along with him. So Papa Oso is starting to stretch out his lead even a little bit more, up to 3.4 seconds ahead of P2. Here you go, Papa Oso. Taking that uphill left-hand turn.
Gonna have Team CBR. He won too. Nice job.
Oh, is Papa Oso CBR also? I don't know if I caught that.
Yeah.
And here comes Papa Oso down the final stretch to secure a race win in the
And
fifth
fastest
split.
lap.
And fast. Yep. Wow, Wicked CBR coming in.
Abs
P2.
at 39.
Oh, look at that. 140.00. Just almost put a flat 140 out for his final lap. That's impressive.
Would have been
Nice job
exactly
by Johnny
100
here.
seconds.
Here comes Johnny Boy. Up the hill. Eyeing up the grandstands there. And setting himself up to secure his P3 for Team Lexus. Well, these manufacturer standings are going to be interesting to see after this
Right.
week's races.
Right?
And there is Metal in the GTR, secure in P4.
Nice showing for that
Chase.
AMV. Nice job.
Chase giving a little flash of the lights for us as he secures his 5th spot. Horn of Plenty in P6 with a double pit.
Nice.
Looks like we got T. Calvert coming in. Here's Craig in P7. So you got Porsche in 6, 7. And there is Big Joe. I think he's our last car on track. Bringing it in for P8. So
Very
congratulations to our drivers today. Woo!
Wow.
Wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. What a bunch of race, man. These guys did not disappoint today. This was some awesome racing. So, Tuzin, you want to take us through the final grid here? Or the final results?
Sure. So Papa Oso in the Huracan takes the victory and fastest lap. Overall race time was a 39:26.527. Wicket, second place, 3.7 seconds back. The final podium position goes to BHR Johnny Boy, 47.7 seconds back. Metal in the GTR, 58.5 seconds behind. AGRT Chase in the SLS AMG, minute 8 behind. PHG Horn of Plenty in the Cayman, minute 15 back. Craig in the Cayman as well, a minute 27 behind. The fortunate race from Big Joe finishes P8, minute 39 behind. In P9, Real Shanman in the Supra and T. Calvert in the M4, both 1 lap back. And DNF, unfortunately, from Speedburn. Actually, now that I think about it, what happened to Speedburn? Because wasn't he one of the ones in contention for the lead? Okay. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I know he was up with the front runners, one of the people contending for the lead of that race.
And now I forget, was Speedrunner the one that it was having food poisoning?
No, that was Stiggy.
Stiggy, okay, thank you. Let's say I knew somebody had food poisoning, so I couldn't remember. Well, this has been awesome. So, yeah, let's find out Papa, who would you say is your driver of the race on that one for the fifth split?
Oof. Well, it's hard for a Papa not to vote for a Papa. I think I'm gonna have to go with BHR Johnny Boy. Showed a lot of guts and just kept on pushing, kind of like what happened with my race, and just there he is finishing up in P3 with a couple fast guys in front of him. So I think I'm gonna go with Johnny Boy just for sticking with it and pulling that thing out.
Tism, what do you say? Who's your driver of the race?
I'm gonna go with Wicked. I mean, he had the pace to potentially win today. I don't know if the pit strat really worked out for him, but yeah, maybe a couple other slightly different pit strat, or just maybe stretched out the mediums a little more fuel saving. I don't know. There's a lot of variables, but I
Right.
think he was a really strong contender for the win. Maybe a few things going better for him, he could have stolen the win, but yeah, I would give my vote to Wicked.
Okay. I have two. I mean, I think Papa Oso really gets my first vote. As we talked about there towards the end of the race, he just really showed how well composed he ran his race. His lap times were super, super consistent there towards the end of the race. He did what had to be done, got himself back into P1 and closed it out. However, I also think Horn of Plenty gets another vote from me. I mean, to do a two-stopper and end up where he did, we saw it in the previous race where it's just Carl tried something similar, and it didn't work out quite as well for Carl. He did get the fastest lap, but not quite as good a positioning. So I think Horn of Plenty gets gets an honorable mention on that one. That was exceptional, and I don't think it would have worked out any better for me than it did any of those guys. So kudos to all of the drivers today. Well done by everyone. Always an honor to be here in the PHG booth. The charcuterie back behind me is fantastic stuff. So I'm trying to think, is there anything else today? This is awesome. Papa, what track is next week?
Next week is Big Willow.
Big Willows. And that's your third least favorite? Is that how it was?
Yeah, Shaggy put them right in order for me.
Okay.
At least they got easier for me. So.
And you said that one's a group 3, correct?
Group 3, correct.
Okay. I will be honest, I saw somebody with a practice lobby open for that this morning. So I think the guys that ran yesterday are already getting their workout in. For those of you guys who don't know, join the PHG Discord. You can find the information here on the YouTube. I believe our production group's been dropping some of that information into the chat. So grab that, jump in the Discord, join the PHG community. You don't have to put PHG in front of your name to join the Discord. Join the community, learn some of the racing skills that people are talking about. And better than anything else, you're going to make some really, really good friends. Nothing but great people. Great people, better drivers, if I'm mistaken. So make sure you join the community there. Check out the races. You can get in there. You can also see the pinned messages, find out what races are coming up. If you don't want to necessarily do every race, maybe just pick 1 or 2 tracks that you know very well. I can speak for myself. I'm probably going to be in a couple races, but not all of them. I'm kind of with you, Papa. The first 3 ones here are super weak for me. I did not want to embarrass myself and on a broadcast. So I'm going to wait till a track that I know I'm good at comes up, and I got my eye on Laguna. So I might try and sneak in one before that. But Tism, are you doing any races in the World Series?
I'll take a look at the calendar. I missed what would have been the best race for me, which would have been Nürburgring. I absolutely adore that track. Although I understand from a logistical standpoint how difficult it can be to run a league race there. So I do understand that. Yeah, I'll take a look at the calendar, see what piques my interest. I think I saw somebody post in chat that Deep Forest and Grand Valley were finals races.
Yep, that is
Yeah,
correct.
I think so, yep.
That is
Okay, so
correct. Because I
that's-
remember thinking Deep Forest is one I like, but I don't know that I'm getting into the final.
Yeah. I'll take a look. Maybe I'll enter one race randomly and then come in and do comms for the next race. Like
Yeah,
the very
that's-
next stint.
That's the coolest thing, I think. You know, there's other leagues where, you know, we can't necessarily race and also commentate. But here with the PHG World Series, you get that chance. So I don't know that I'm necessarily going to throw Subaru's make into the ring. So I might have to pick somebody different. Oh goodness! All right, Papa. Any closing thoughts?
And honestly, I just want to thank everybody again. This has been incredible. I mean, all week with all the qualifying and then all the 5 races over the last couple of days, and they were all great races. It was awesome to be a part of and watch it all come together.
Tism, final thoughts from you, sir.
There was a tie for 6th and 7th place. I will never forget. I've never seen that in an
Right?
actual race. I've seen it for qualifying, but I've never seen a tie in race, whether it was online, offline. I've never seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the races were absolutely amazing. The racecraft was great to see. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what the drivers have to offer next week. Willow Springs, not a big fan of that track, so I'll definitely be sitting in the box for that one.
Yeah, Willow Springs is a tough one. First of all, kudos to all the drivers today. You guys put on exceptional performances. Also, kudos to the guys from yesterday. I got to watch those races as well. Top-notch driving. Everybody was class, and also making some magic happen. So kudos to all you guys. Big shout out to the production team. You know, the guys behind the scenes. Salamander today, Shaggy behind the scenes. Titanium Ashes, I know Papa mentioned earlier. I'm forgetting so many people that I'm just going to stop there.
Yeah,
Papa, thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the community. Thank you for all you do. Love jumping into your broadcasts. If you guys don't ever catch Papa on stream, it's just a community event. Papa's also racing at the same time. So jump in, check out Papa when he's live. Smash that like button. Make sure and show your support for the folks both in the booth, out of the booth. You know, and jump into the Discord. Trust me, you will not regret it. On behalf of PHG, myself, thank you guys all for the opportunity. Thanks for staying with us, and hopefully everybody has a wonderful. Cheers.
The engine's roaring life in the fast lane. PHG, we the name, tearing up the game. Thunder on the track, speed never go lack. Pushing limits. It's a traveler's dream. Might stumble, fall, but we rise again. For the banner of PHG flies our friend.